Hello and good evening, and today
I
we
thought
are
you would
talking...
appreciate the song choice.
I do indeed.
Metroid Fusion's a really good game. Track it down.
Okay.
It is. I think I have my copy in my little bag of games.
Yeah, you have a legit copy. I had to get a copy of a
Okay.
copy back when I had a tablet that could run this shit.
Oh
But-
yeah.
Yeah, but there we are. So we were talking about Kyle's favorite group of the Technocracy.
Yes, we're talking about the Void Engineers. Do you
The
like
Void
cosmic
Engineers.
horror? Do you like aliens? Do you like cool sci-fi shit? This is the faction for you.
All right.
Do you
Where-
want to explore the unexplored? Do you want to fight the invincible? Do you want to pursue the inevitable?
Do you want
Join
to die a
Void
violent
Engineers.
death?
Yes. Do you want to
Do
be?
I ever?
Do
You
you-
guys sold me. Where do I sign?
Do you want to be? You know,
Here, gentlemen,
slaughtered and
super
integrated by, in a race of parasitic cyborgs that live beyond the horizon, created by Iteration X being a group of sniveling dipshits.
never trust the IT guys. Never.
So it just so happened
There's
that
my T guy, can't confirm.
this game's been out for a little while already. Mainly Badass Hero made his video on it, and then that man has got a talent for finding games that are about to blow up. He gets his foot in the door first, and then his video explodes. But before we made this episode, I discovered the game Look Outside, and now I have massive inspiration for any sort of Void Engineer game. Kyle, you haven't heard this game, have you?
I have not.
Let's see. Let me send you some stuff your way for this. So, as a member of the Void Engineers, going into studio notes, you'll encounter stuff that looks like this.
Oh dear God.
Yeah. We ain't on a splash screen now, are we?
No, we are
Ah,
not.
sweet. Human
Ah,
horrors
yeah.
beyond human comprehension.
There's a classic Tuesday for Zemitzi. Come on.
And this.
Oh,
We are literally
that's
playing
pretty cool.
Metroid Fusion if you're playing a
Yeah.
Void Engineers game.
See here. Let's see what else is freaky in this game.
I remember before you joined, Kyle, on the call, we tell Void Engineer is simply putting Helldivers and Doctor Who, but it's written by H.P. Lovecraft.
Yes.
Yep.
It's slightly less racist.
There's a third one, Kyle.
Where are you getting these from?
There it is. I have these. I have these at the ready.
Yeah, I know, but where are they from?
Let's see. Look outside.
Oh.
It's a
See here.
Look outside, Kyle. The outside of your apartment.
See. And if you want to make me scream, this one.
Oh, Plant Monster?
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
I feel
fungus.
like that's the
Wait.
evolved good.
Yeah, that's the Pokemon. That's the
Yeah.
Yeah.
final evolution of Oddish.
Yeah, it's the same kind of plant.
See, I've got there was a version of that in Metroid Fusion as well. The ones where
Yeah.
it's like you had to fight the statue
Yeah.
and like
And then-
you would get stuck in them. It's impossible to fucking get out.
Yeah, on top of that, Metroid, System Shock 2 specifically, Dead Space, Event Horizon, what else is there? Interstellar, all really good inspiration for when it comes to running a game like this.
Yes.
Here.
The bottom line is
See.
you're going to die, and it's going to be
Yes.
slow and painful at the hands of a fate that you had never seen before.
Yeah.
But also
Be
be
epic.
sure to take them with you.
See,
Good luck.
see, there was one in here that this one's just this one kind of freaked me the fuck out. One more. Yeah, here you go.
Oh.
yeah.
Hey, that looked nice.
Yes. And this thing just pops out and grabs you, which is what it is. But yeah, we're talking about was ironically the most hopeful and the most hopeless book in all of World of Darkness, I think.
Depending on how far you go into the horizon.
Yeah.
Where you're going to notice that there's going to be a tone shift throughout this episode, where most information that I'm pulling for this episode comes from First Edition. And Second Edition, the second half of Second Edition is really good. The first half had me thinking, what the fuck am I reading? Where, Storyteller, I think you'll understand when I say it, where I don't want a World of Darkness book to be written the way that I speak. Where I don't want to. It takes me out of it when the Void Engineers were saying, "Hey, you know that shit, that fucked up shit out in space? Yeah, that shit is the shit, man. Fuck that shit. I don't want to put up with that shit, man. Fuck that shit." And like
Yeah.
when Dasher sentences, it pulls me right out of the book when I see that.
True. However, considering what these guys are, they feel like they're more like space marines rather than just like average scientists.
Yeah,
I've grown up on like a military base. They kind of do talk like that. There's a reason it's called cursing like a sailor.
Well, given how these guys have had to militarize in recent years, ever since the Week of Nightmares, they have a very good reason for being as sour as they are today.
Oh yeah.
And it's their own fault too. They don't have anyone to blame besides themselves for this.
It's partially their fault. Let's be honest. This is all iteration Nix's baby. The Void Engineers found it.
There it
They
is.
found
It's,
it and trying to clean it up.
Yeah, Iteration X set the pins. The Void Engineers kicked it over.
Yeah.
All right. So, Kyle, how many times have we looked at a Technocracy book and have said, our group began when man first scratched his ass and smelled his fingers afterwards, like, or something to that effect?
Pretty much every single one of them, but they all read Orwell.
And this book begins the same way, too, where they're saying, when did we begin? How about the first time a man looked over at a location and said, I want to know what's in there? And that's when they began, according to them.
Yes.
So these are like Iteration X and the Progenitors. These guys just were always there, but never really had a name for themselves until the Ivory Tower would come in and crash in them. But they did call themselves the Seekers of the Void. That was their original name. And what they do, Kyle, explore. And that was it. That's the whole point to the group, is that I want to know what's over there. I want to know what's over there. I want to know what's over there. Before, what was it, 10,000 BC, we were just nothing but nomads going from place to place to place, following food, following water, getting away from predators, forest fires, disasters, disease, what have you. The Cro-Magnons, the missing link that we can't find anywhere, that's what they were back in the day. And then,
and with VOD, you've also had like, Imperium, Dragon Kings, everything else, Fae.
the reason why they're missing the link is because the werewolves ate them all. There it is.
Yes.
All those people got to eaten, and they ate the fossils too.
Oops.
Thank you, Red Talons. Very cool.
Good job.
No problemo.
And
Talents do not waste.
they don't. They eat every part of the human body. And then 10,000 BC comes around, and mankind settles down. They build houses, walls, they domesticate animals, they make farms, they start mapping out where they are. But there's still the wanderlust, right? Because even though we're developing villages, we still want to know what's over that hill. And that's what motivates these people, saying, is the grass greener on the other side? And that's something that motivates a lot of people to, I feel like that's just a very human motivation. That's something that a lot of people can relate to. Where, is there a better life out for me, there for me somewhere else? Is that call for adventure, that you want to know about the world. It's that thirst for knowledge. Where the way the first edition's written, it automatically hooks me in on the Void Engineers. Like, I already really like these guys with the way the book is written. Now, granted, there is a lot of fluff text in first edition. This is one of those books, Kyle, that's written as an argument between two people.
That's what I noticed about it. It's like one Void Engineer and then a Dream Speaker and one other person.
And one's a vampire.
That's a fucking combination.
And it's this weird round table between these characters, and they keep interrupting each other. Is the thing that bothers me.
That was part of the thing that made it really hard for me to take notes. That, and I was trying to binge watch Band of Brothers today, but don't worry about that.
Where it's not as bad as Children of Gaia second edition. That book's bad. That book is bad with how many different narrators are trying to speak at the same time. But it's disorienting, but you can summarize what these guys are saying in 5 paragraphs into 1 paragraph. But it's still charming the way it's written, because you can tell that the narrator, who is telling the facts, believes in what he's saying and believes in his paradigm. And that's what's charming to this book. But, Kyle, the Void Engineers just don't stick to land, do they? Well, you have people climbing mountains and going into valleys. You have just as many people back at home who are looking up at the sky and say, that star, I want to see that up close. That ocean, I want to see what's at the bottom of that. I want to float across the ocean, swim across the ocean, and see if there's any other land out there. I want to go into that hole in the ground and see if there's anything interesting in there. It was this wanderlust that eventually led to astrologers, astronomers, wizards, so to speak. And while these places were being explored by anyone that had correspondence and spirit spheres, the Void Engineers didn't want to just bring themselves, they wanted to bring everyone else along with them. They didn't just want to hold onto this little piece of land by themselves. They want to go back to that house that they built and say, hey, I discovered this. I brought this back from that place. Let me take you there sometime. Where this, like pages 9 and 10, really do lay out the paradigm of what the Void Engineers are. Where it's human advancement first and foremost, no other bullshit attached to it. Kyle, do the NWO want to advance humanity?
Only to their very stringent specifications, and then keep it from ever going anywhere else ever again.
Do the Syndicate want to advance humanity?
Only if it's profitable.
Does Iteration X want to advance humanity?
Yes, but they want to be in charge of it.
Do the Progenitors want to advance humanity?
Yes, but they want to be in charge of it.
Do the Void Engineers want to advance humanity?
Kinda.
Well, the answer is yes, and there's nothing else behind the yes. It's just yes. Where
Is that forward? We're going that way.
out of all 5 conventions of the Technocracy, the Void Engineers are the one and only that never corrupted.
They're the only decent people in the Technocracy.
They still believe in that original vision that they have. Now, granted, they've made just as many mistakes as the Technocracy, but it never came from a place of malicious intent. It was just honest mistakes that they made that turned out to be colossal honest mistakes, but we're getting there eventually. And with Iteration X, they're looking around, well, not Iteration X, but, well, let me restructure that sentence. So the Void Engineers want to go explore somewhere, where, Kyle, I want to go across the ocean and see if there's other land there.
Okay.
I'm just a man by myself. What do I need?
Well, first, you need a ship capable of traveling several thousands of miles over the sea.
So I go to the artificers, as they were called at the time. I get a ship. All right, now I have my boat. What else do I need?
You need a crew to man that ship.
All right, so I'm gonna go over and I'll see if I can find other people that'll join me. I'll go to the Syndicate and say, "Hey, do you guys want to explore someplace? I'll pay you for it." Okay, now I have explorers to help me out. What else do I need?
You need food, water, medical supplies, weapons in case you need to fight off assailants.
All right, I'll go over to the Progenitors and get exactly that.
And you need somebody who can navigate.
All right, then I'll go to the NWO and get a guy.
And yeah, you're pretty much good to go.
And now you see how the 5 pillars put themselves into place.
Yes.
Where, as it turned out, the Void Engineers were the glue of the Technocracy the entire time. They just didn't know it at the time. And years would go on where you'd have this kind of structure until the dawn of reason, the age of reason, where Storyteller, the NWO, comes over to the Void Engineers. Well, that's not what they're called at the time, the Ivory Tower. And they say, "Hey, we're building something called the Order of Reason. Do you want to be a part of it?" "Well, why do I need to be a part of it?" And the Ivory Tower sits down and says, "Look, you will be like Abraham. You will be the father of nations. You're going to go out, you're going to lay down the borders and the cities for the people that will be your children and your children's children, who will then make history and create a civilization that will last forever. Does that sound like a good deal to you?" And the Void Engineers said, "Sign me up for that. That sounds incredible." And NWO pat them on the head, turned them around, and sent them off on their way across the horizon.
Cool. So what's the catch?
Well, what's the catch is you'll find an island that is controlled by giant muscular women with black wings that beat men to death on sight. Also, we have another island that is controlled by the Cyclops, who eats people in a single bite. Also, this other land over there is controlled by the Medusa. Oh, and there's also the Kraken in the ocean. That might be little Sombra, who's coming up to drag you with his tentacles down to the bottom of the ocean. Along with that, we've also got other witches, wizards, fairies, ghosts, vampires. You know, just normal stuff that you should be able to handle on your own.
Well,
And,
as a llama once told me, bring it on.
and that was kind of the relationship between the Void Engineers and the NWO summarized, where
Simply, Mama didn't raise no bitch.
it's King NWO points the Void Engineers in a direction, and then they do it. The NWO won't go with them, but they'll sit on their chair and just wait for them to come back, and then criticize them as to what they could have done differently.
It's not like the NWO has to even try. It's getting them to go in the direction you want them to. That's the problem, because Void Engineers are going to go that way regardless.
Because as it turns out from the NWO perspective, they're trying to hard wrangle the Void Engineers the best they can, saying, quit going that way, don't look this way, look the way I want you to look for me. They want a backseat.
The other conventions they have to hard wrangle, so
they're backseat driving the Void Engineers is their relationship.
While
Basically.
holding 3 other Henri children who are trying to set themselves on fire.
So the Void Engineers are like the heart of the group, the NWO is the brains. And then LeBron is Iteration X, and then the people that really should see other people at this point are the Syndicate and Progenitors.
Yeah.
And the Dawn of Reason happens, the Void Engineers become a thing, but hold on a minute, you need a new name. Let's call you the Celestial Masters, is what we'll call you. Kyle, how do you rate that name?
Which one?
Celestial Masters.
I mean, that's pretty cool, though, not gonna lie.
And so
Might
they
run
did.
into some copyright issues with the Celestial Chorus, though.
But then WO was part of it, so it's like second-handed.
Yes. And they would send the Celestial Masters off to explore different places. We have the entirety of Europe explored. We have the Silk Road in Asia. We're going over to China, getting silken noodles, bringing them back. We're going into Africa, and it turns out all the African people have all the gold and the diamonds and the such. And we're exploring the entire world, but there's just one issue in the ocean.
Too damn big.
Well, what can we do about that?
Make a bigger ship, obviously.
Yeah, but until we get the technology for that, which already existed by this point in China, but they just didn't know what the world looked like, we are instead going to fight the church. We're going to stick it to the church. You ready for this?
Yeah, sounds right.
All right. I'm going to read this verbatim because it actually is really it's really charming the way this is written. All right. In 1543, Nicholas Copernicus' treatise on the motion of the solar system saw publication. In it, he positioned that the sun and planets did not revolve around the Earth, but rather the Earth and the planets revolved around the sun. Religious thinkers had a fit. The idea flew in the face of their god. Some people claim that the whole theory changed the structure of the solar system, that the planets and the sun realigned themselves to Copernicus' expectation. Like I said, stranger things have happened, but I'm personally skeptical. After all, Nicholas's ideas didn't catch on for some decades to come, and the people who espoused them, like Galileo and Kepler, for instance, weren't popular. At least not first. In time, however, superstition capitulated to reality. Because education meant status, mobility, and profit. People needed to learn to advance. Unable to burn everyone, the high priest watched their empire crumble under the weight of scientific truth and human curiosity. New developments and theories in astronomy rapidly propelled physics and mathematics forward. Tycho Brahe, Johannes Kepler, Nicholas Brouwer, Galileo Galilei, Sir Isaac Newton, Gian Domenico Cassini, Edmund Halley, and William Herschel. These celestial masters turned astrology into astronomy, magic into science. Scientists became the new gods, and the masses prospered. Magic is exclusionary and inexact, restricting power to a talented few. Reason, on the other hand, is a solid, reliable, and teachable. Even the unenlightened can benefit from technology, or technology with a K, as it may be the case, from the rewards of scientific inquiry. Anyone can use science. It doesn't require faith, just knowledge. The Renaissance and the Age of Exploration proved what people can do with scientific tools. And the Dreamseeker honestly doesn't have he's debating with the Dreamseeker throughout the book. The Dreamseeker honestly doesn't have anything to retort that with. We said, yeah, you honestly got me beat there. Where And he just says, "Hey, but that pile of stew we've been brewing in the background, it's ready now. We can eat the stew now." And it's just- it's the whole conversation between the two. Now, Kyle, everything we just read in that section, those 3 paragraphs, that's objectively true, isn't it?
Yeah, for the most part.
Where knowledge is going to be power. Where if you can read, if you can write, if you can spread your ideas and prove your theory is true, that's going to be power in your hands. To a point where warfare today is going to be fought with information instead of weapons. Where all this talk about World War III being fought on the ground, where we're going to go and have gunfights with Russia and China, bullshit. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think the entire war that we would have would be entirely online, is what would happen.
Yep,
Where-
it would all be
Reddit,
cyber
man.
attacks, biological warfare, and then eventually nukes. And
Because
then
this
we all
whole-
sleep.
Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm already on Twitter. We're gonna tweet Russia. Ask about Twitter and made it a super weapon. NWO wins.
Surprise Trump.
That was great. That was great, Rapid.
Sorry, but it's like it was set up so nicely.
Well, the minute we get Canada as our land and we take all the oil, we'll be fine.
Well, if you heard what
We
the
need
king
more
did, apparently
oil.
Canada's illegitimate.
As we just need them to surrender. Well, Alberta will secede from the Union, and then we'll have the back door will be opened, and then nothing will stop America from invading.
You know what? I completely forgot about Nicholas Copernic, Mikołaj Kopernik, and it's like, oh my god, I'm so happy I heard this man's name, the Polish star.
And he was exactly right about everything he said.
Yep.
Where-
And by the way, when he said that, it does smell like, sorcery, where magic became math, and faith
Yes.
became math.
Yes.
It smells like sorcery for me.
And Rapid, imagine how much will that fuck up a mage, a traditionalist specifically, when you can scientifically prove their paradigm is wrong.
Very.
Like, story-
Imagine you can cast spells and your avatar leaves.
Yeah, like Storyteller, remind us in the rules what happens when your paradigm breaks.
Oh boy. Usually when your paradigm breaks, usually through the result of being disproven, you lose all your ability to cast magic. Like, for a mage, that's kind of big. You just become a regular ass human. So,
Or inversely, you deny what you're seeing in front of you and go into mental illness and become a marauder.
i.e., quiet.
And then by that point, you would just become a cancer on reality, and reality will eventually cure itself, and you'll just pop out of existence one day. And nobody will
Usually
even
through
know
a
you
violent
existed.
detonation.
It's the marauder issue will solve itself. We don't need to lift a
And-
finger anymore.
Yeah, but it'll take everyone around them too, so...
Yeah,
Yeah,
mind
because that-
yourself on that one.
Because after all, I did read the Judgment scenario in Times of Judgment, and yeah, that one's nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't be in the blast radius of that.
No, you don't want to be. Kyle, quiz.
Okay, I'm gonna fail, but
In
okay.
what year did Christopher Columbus discover South America?
1492.
That's right. Thank you very much.
Yep.
And he went over. Now, before he did that, the Age of Exploration, where the NWO walked over and said, "Hey, thank you so much, Void Engineers, for getting rid of that celestial chorus problem for us and paving the way for us to take over the world. We talked it over with the Syndicate. We got this big stack of money for you that we will use to pay for whatever you want to explore." The Void Engineers pointed up at the sky. The NWO grabbed their hand and pointed back down to the ground and said, "Anywhere on Earth you want to explore." and they said, "Well, we would like to go across the ocean." "Oh, the ocean? All right, now we have the technology. We talked with Iteration X, and now we know how to make a ship that's seaworthy. We now know that we've been going to India the wrong way. We could just sail across the entire ocean. You'll wind up right back in India." "For real?" Yeah, go ahead, guys." And they put them on a boat, sent them across the Atlantic Ocean, and it landed in South America. And then what happened, Kyle?
They were like, these are the best people in the world. They just fish and hunt and they build all this stuff, and they build all their houses, and they tend to their crops, and they live real simple, peaceful lives. Let's kill them and enslave them and take everything they have.
And then the Void Engineers said, they say this in their book, they said, no, that was not us that did this. We did not participate in anything related to colonization or a slave trade. That was the soldiers, the priests, and the politicians who did all of that. We just wanted to see new places, tell people about it, and make maps. That's all we wanted to do. What do we know?
I don't believe you.
What question is, because Vikings were in North America, like the Gate of Fenris.
Yes.
Do you think some, like one or two Void Engineers just hop on their ships and went with them, or no?
I mean, it's possible.
It's entirely possible that there was one like in Norway or something that that tagged along and then was immediately cut in half by a Wendigo.
Because after all, it's very easy to spot a traditionalist when you see one. Because why is he casting a spell with? A wand. Okay, that's a mage. Kill him. Why is he casting a spell with? A piece of paper and a pencil. That's not magic. Leave him alone.
I mean, in the Last Kingdom, when Alfred is trying to negotiate with, I don't remember who it was in the first season, and
it wasn't Canute. It was someone else, right?
Yeah, that Canute didn't come in until like season 4 or 5, but it was like the very first one that didn't believe Uhtred when he told him that his father had been killed by Kjartan. I'm rambling a bit, but it's like when Alfred is negotiating with the Vikings, and they have the priest that's taking the notes of the meeting, and he's going, "What is he doing over there?" He's writing the meeting. What does he write? Everything we say. So if I were to say tits, piss, fart, ass, he would write that all down? Yes. This is magic.
And it is exactly that. It's just interesting enough for it to be a spell. It just passed the baseline. And this whole situation with what happened in South America, where this is before even mentioning the consumption worm, where yes, the Void Engineers did know about that and couldn't do anything to stop it. Where, because remember, these are people that have spirit as their main sphere of magic, so they knew what was going on with the Bane Tenders, and they saw the consumption worm break out of a cell and start making a beeline for North America faster than they could keep up, because they wanted to chase after it, but the 10 out of Shadow Lords and the Bali were all in the way of them getting to it.
I thought the Void Engineers were correspondents, not spirit.
Well, it's both.
They call it dimensional science. They don't call it spirit. That's way too hermetic for them.
Yeah, but they have a seed of correspondence, but dimensional science, like it's a second. There's a second thing.
Yeah, because the Void Engineers, the Technocrat Union double dips with their main spheres.
They do that because there's only 5 of them.
Right. You have to spread yourselves just a little thin with these guys. And so that happens, and before they can figure out how to fix it, the issue just resolves itself. And they look over to NWO and said, "Guys, what the fuck? What's going on here?" And the NWO just twirls its mustache and said, "What are you upset about? You got what you wanted. You saw new land." And while that was technically true, the Void Engineers never trusted the NWO again after that.
Well, no, because they found all this cool new land and new people and new things with new stuff on it to talk to, and then they immediately kill everybody and take all their shit.
Where they began to realize that anything that they did, the NWO would see it and then take advantage of it. Now, keep this in mind for 2 massive parts of the story that we're going to come around. But first, we got to talk about the Grand Old Master. We got to talk about, what's this man's name? Tyotis. That's his name. Where once upon a time, this man who was in South America exploring, this giant monster came out of the sea and said, "Hey, buddy, you want to see something cool?" He picked him up, he pulled him into the ocean, and he showed him the Umbra. Like just everything on the other side of the gauntlet. And then pulled him back in, put him back on the ground, and then swam away. So, how are you supposed to live a normal life after seeing that?
You don't. You just don't.
Can't. Even as a mage, you can't.
And Tyotis goes back over. Like, they don't know his real name, but they just call him Tyotis. And he said, "Guys, I saw the other side of the gauntlet. It's not at all what we thought it was. We thought there was just a near Umbra. We thought it was just Shambhala, where it's just a parallel world. No, there's so much more. There's the deep Umbra, the dark Umbra, all this other stuff down there, and the NWO and everyone else at the Technocrat Union is just sitting there with their jaw open." And the NWO says, "Okay, don't ever touch that again." The Syndicate is thinking, "Well, how can we make money off of that?" The progenitors are thinking, "Hold on, man, you went to to a different dimension. Did you get a disease from another dimension?" And then Iteration X comes over and says, "Hey, we've been in contact with another god called Computer. Take us there." And the Void Engineers say, "Well, the minute we find Autochthonia, we'll let you know." And now they won't come around to that until a few hundred years down the road. And then Tyotis proved to be too valuable and too smart to let die. So the progenitors have him alive on this he's on a once a month pill that keeps him alive forever now. And you can find him in your Chronicle and talk to him. Awesome, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
And
from
now-
what age?
This was all the way back in, I think, 1600 is when the story happened.
Age of
Oh my
exploration.
god, this guy is like, he's like elder status in
Yeah.
vampires.
He's 400 years old. And he's seen everything. And now for the Industrial Age, where the Great House Cleaning happens, Queen Victoria sanctions the Order of Reason, they become the Technocracy, and then another rebranding needs to happen. We're no longer the Celestial Masters, we're now the Void Engineers, where we already know the Void, we sought it, we found out what it was, now we just need to conquer it. That was the motivation behind the name change. We're going to stop being scared of the unknown, and we're going to conquer the unknown. That became the paradigm. And what also happened around this time with the Sons of Ether? Something
The
involving-
race theory or swapping size?
well, that was going on, but I'm talking about the Michelson Morley experiment.
Oh.
Yeah.
The entire identity of Son of Eaters just disappears and they became bland as chicken with salt and pepper.
Now, here's the thing, because this blew the doors open for me when I read this. So, the thing with the Michelson Morley experiment is that the Void Engineers see this as their biggest mistake that they had to do, where they regret the fallout that came from it, but they knew that they had to do it for the betterment of humanity. What they do in question? They sabotaged the Michelson Morley experiment. The Void Engineers did it, not the NWO. And the reason why they did it is because the Void Engineers knew that what the Sons of Ether were saying was true. Because the two conventions worked almost hand in hand, where anytime the Sons of Ether needed something tested, the first people they went to were who? The Void Engineers. And the Void Engineers had no qualms or conniptions towards anything the Sons of Ether gave them. So when it came to be that they were going to test to see if Ether, the God particle, was real, the Void Engineers thought, wait, hold on a minute. Anytime we do something, we get exploited by the NWO and everyone else. So what is going to happen if this experiment works, and they prove that the God particle is real and then post about it in a scientific journal? What's going to happen?
The MWO is gonna fuck it up like they always do.
Exactly, where that's the deal sealed right there. And the Void Engineers are aware enough to know that if the NWO gets exactly what they want, there will no longer be a need for the Void Engineers. Kyle, does exploring every inch of the world and the universe co-align with the paradigm of the NWO of one God, one people, one kingdom on a hill, now and forevermore?
Well, that depends on, how big you want your kingdom to be.
And the NWO is content with the space they have, because what NWO agents can you name that actually study the Spirit Sphere?
There was one?
Exactly. So they know that if this succeeds, the NWO will cash in on their idea for mass ascension, and that will be it. So they sabotage the experiment. and then the Sons of Ether rage quit the Technocracy, but then the Void Engineers run the exact same experiment, but correct this time, behind closed doors, and it turns out that Sons of Ether were exactly right. They found Ether, and they caught it, and now they have a reliable source of mass-producing quintessence without the need of a node. How big of a deal is this?
Oh my god.
The Sons of
That's-
Ether have the most correct paradigm now.
Exactly, because they got proven right by the Void Engineers. But the Void Engineers knew that they could not say this to anyone. This had to be a secret that would die with them. So they sanctioned it off and put it somewhere else where nobody else is ever going to see this. In space. How did they do that at the time? Kyle, we had spaceships back in the 1800s, didn't we?
Yeah, Jules Verne would write about them. So there is technology, spelled CK, and then there's technology, spelled CH. Both refer to different things. The CK is the variety written in literature by, Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, in order to introduce the lighter ideas of space travel to the masses through the creative lens of science fiction. My favorite genre, so I bought into that wholeheartedly. Meanwhile, technology is the actual happening technology that works, is based off of science and logic, and can eventually be introduced to the masses once technology CK has been thoroughly ingrained as part of fiction in the masses to the point in which it might become eventual reality. The Void Engineers know for a fact that, the Void Engineers have had the technology to travel the stars as early as Jules Verne, but never told anybody about it. They just went off and did it. They've had bases on the moon and had visited all the planets by the time that Saturn V landed on the moon in 1969.
And this is what that spaceship looked like. Exactly this.
Steampunk is gay.
Dare you?
Dieselpunk is better. Fight me.
Are we
I
done
wanna-
with that blimp?
Yeah, it just flew into space with a blimp.
What are you gonna do?
You can
Use
do
your
it.
Later
stupid, copper gear gun against my giant iron friggin' machine gun that looks like it came out of the New Order?
Yeah. Guns of Icarus was a really good game. I wish I got the chance to play it though.
Yeah, shame, but all good things must come to an end.
And with the advances in science, so how are we going to do faster light travel? With this,
You do it wrong.
We're going to do it with this guard particle, but we're not going to tell the NWO that it is the guard particle. We're going to call it something else. Now, think about it. We the Void Engineers need to surround at the buzzword table. Okay, so what silly ass name can we call this thing instead? Instead of ether, we will call it interstellar medium. What the fuck is that? Yeah, exactly. We're never going to explain what it is. Now.
Interstellar medium? What the hell is that? Fuck you, that's what it is.
It's the flux
exactly.
capacitor. It makes time travel possible.
Interstellar is a
pronoun.
good movie.
Yep.
With
And-
Matthew McConaughey.
And where did they keep and harvest this stuff? They kept it on the Copernicus Research Center, aka the COP, is where they kept it. Kyle, they also had a Dyson Sphere.
Yeah. They used a star as a generator.
Yeah.
There it is. The Void Engineers went out into space and wrangled a star and then brought it back in, and that's where they kept the ether. And the NWO said, "Oh, you're doing this? Okay, cool. Can we inspect the base?" They hid the machine. NWO never discovered that they have ether, and neither did anyone else. These guys successfully kept a secret from the NWO. How big of an achievement is that?
Honestly, pretty based.
Yeah, pretty base and pretty big.
And in case you want to know what the COP looks like, it looks like this.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that.
Well, that's
Why are you showing me Space Marines?
science.
Yeah.
That is Edmund, I think.
That's Victor posting that. That's
No, that's
Victor.
Vic.
Victor
No, that's
showing
Adam.
StarCraft Terrans.
Yeah, that's Vic posting that.
We haven't gotten to that part of the episode, Vic. We're not there yet.
Soon.
And with the cop, that is basically Scienceville, where anything the Void Engineers are building, it's there. And did the Void Engineers participate in World War II? No,
No, they're just out in space while that whole thing happened.
because they frankly have better shit to do than get involved in modern day geopolitics. The Void
They-
Engineers are ironically completely apolitical. They could not give us a shit about geopolitics.
It's like they look from the window from their cop, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not gonna involve. We're not gonna
What
involve."
are they
in this
doing
shit."
down there, bro? I think they're shooting at each other.
We saw
Dr.
two
Schlipp
massive
is
fireballs
huge.
come out of Japan. What is that?
Yeah. Dr. Schlipp is seen
Bro,
in
we
the
already
doctor's
had
office
that
looking outside,
shit.
like, what the hell they doing out there?
They
Oh my
already
God.
they really did already make nukes with the Sons of Ether. The Sons of Ether already had these.
Yeah.
No, I guess
Yeah.
one of them
It's
finally
It's
spilled.
called interstellar bomb.
Yes. You gotta give it some silly ass naming for Void Engineer so you can avoid paradox.
That's the fun part.
And there's basically this is where the story ends in terms of history, but there's one massive event that happens, isn't there? The Week of Nightmares.
Yes.
1999.
June, if I'm not mistaken.
So, Xerxes Jones, who it turns out to be one of the most important characters in Mage ever, and has no official artwork of himself, which is really infuriating, decides that
Why?
he is going to build a nuke that I'm copying Burger Creek with this joke. Looks like a nuke and is nuke because it is nuke, but it works on ghosts specifically. So he's going to go and he's going to plant it in the Shadowlands just to see what the fuck happens. Because after all, we get this place called the First City that's got this group in it called the Tamahe Ra that are talking about these ancient vampires that also following this Gehenna prophecy. Kind of spooky, right? We should probably do something about
Very
that.
spooky.
Yeah,
And
it's a
then
little
me-
issue.
And then meanwhile, the Smiling Lord said, "So you want to be a hero, kid? Well, whoop-de-doo. Let me put my 2 nukes that I got on my own on your nuke. I heard you like nukes, so I'm going to put nukes in your nuke so you can detonate while you detonate."
You
That
rat
sound
bastard,
cool?
You stole my joke.
I did. I stole your joke exactly. So when that bomb goes off, they did not know that there were 2 other nuclear bombs right next to it, resulting in an explosion so big it destroys the first city, destroys every race in the first city, destroys all the antediluvians in the first city, and destroys Tamahe Ra. And the most unexplained plot point in Vampire the Masquerade came to a very unceremonious end. But it didn't just stop there now, did it?
No.
No.
No, it did
No.
not.
The
got
biggest
worse.
domino is not flipping.
So what ended up happening is that there was a thing in Wraith the Oblivion called the Tempest that is a ocean and storm that is alive and knows what's going on. Did not like the explosions, so it combined with the explosions, creating this absolutely massive ghost hurricane that started traveling across the entirety of Stygia, killed almost every Wraith. Again, you can die twice, and then flew out of the Shadowlands into the Umbra, flying right towards Autochthonia, where Iteration X had already set up a base, which it then grabbed onto Autochthonia and threw the entire plan out of alignment. And that would eventually lead to the creation of something that we know today as Threat Null. Now, Kyle, we have brought this group up multiple times by this point. But we have
Yes.
never really gone into detail about them now, have we?
There.
So, what they look like, they actually, I finally figured out they have an official picture. It is this. This is what they look like.
Oh,
Oh my god, they did.
they don't look as bad as I thought.
That's the thing, isn't it? You don't recognize that they're aliens until they're attacking you.
Yep.
Oh.
I mean,
So-
the one on the left makes sense, but like the others, that looks like that just looks like a black suit that got taken, and then like these two, but these two on the in the middle and on the end, those look more like aliens in the Flash
Yes.
Gordon sense.
Ooh.
And
Ah.
they're known as 4 different groups. The Autopolians, who are corrupted members of Iteration X, Agents, corrupted members of the NWO, Transhumanists, corruptions of the Progenitors, and the Residents, corruptions of the Syndicate, who all got dragged into this massive soul storm after they failed to escape that base. And Now that base is alive and is slowly coming back to Earth. The Void Engineers saw this, knew what was going to happen, and launched their entire arsenal into the Maelstrom to keep the storm going to hold the Threatnol at bay. Because they knew that it was over. If Autochthonia comes back into contact with the human world, it's over. That's apocalypse. Forget Gehenna, forget the worm. That's how the world will end. Because everything that was super special, super high tech, super fucking crazy that the Technocracy had but refused to show the public was on that base when it got thrown off in outer space. Imagine what they look like now.
It's so over, bro.
It
Because
is.
you know, it's because we planted a fucking nuke into the nuke in the Shadowlands and opened the rift to the fucking hell.
And
I take back what I said, that it being Iteration X's fault for Autochthonia and Threatnol. No, I take that back. This is all Xerxes Jones's fault.
and it's the
He
smiling
fucked
Lord.
the universe.
Yeah.
Jones has 50% because Smiling Lord put, the other half of the nukes,
I'll love to talk more about Wraith the Oblivion, but it just doesn't get as many views. But the Smiling Lord, when you look at the Lord, that man is just straight evil. That is one of the worst villains in all of World of Darkness in terms of just how bad of a person he is.
A
But
massive asshole.
So he is a
right-
good
yeah.
villain.
oh yes, he is the kind that you love to hate. Because of just like the shit this man did in the absence of Karen. That stuff that he got away with. But so the Void Engineers had to dump everything they had to keep the Maelstrom going. And thankfully, they had a perfect diversion with Ravnos. You know, the guy that steals the spotlight of the Weekend Nightmares, where, Zapath Ashura, as he's called in some circles,
Zapathasura.
wakes up and then starts destroying the world, where the man summons hurricanes that fly into outer space and destroy your satellites, and he's surviving nuclear blasts to the chest. That's a
And
big
space
deal.
lasers.
Where
Yeah.
it's a man where he might as well have the same level of power as God, given that if he imagines it, it happens. That's his
He's
power.
a second generation vampire. He's got powers, the things that the other antediluvians don't got.
Storyteller, was it you who told me once upon a time that you had a Chronicle of Vampire where the very last scene was Ravnos closing the book to the Chronicle and then putting it on the shelf?
No, that was not me. I'm still going through one. Mine takes place in Santa Cruz, California.
Okay, who told me that story? Don't remind me in the comments.
I don't know, but that sounds awesome.
Yeah, where it turns out the entirety of the World of Darkness was just a story told by Ravnos.
That is kind of funny, though. I like that.
Mm,
It's like Super Smash Brothers, where like the game ends with you defeating Master Han, and then it's just a kid leaving the bedroom.
Like you thought that Malkav controlled the world. No, it was Ravnos the entire time.
That is even funnier, actually.
I could say like I'm 60% on the board on that.
Yeah. And now, what do the Void Engineers do? Because NWO never got the memo that Threatnol exists because they were too busy dealing with Zapath Ashura, or Ravnos, depending on whatever you want to call him. He goes by many names.
So is easier to say. Zapathasura sounds sexier though.
The Void Engineers look at each other and say, well, hold on a minute. We can't tell them about this, or why not? They're going to flip their shit and lose their mind and cash in on their mass ascension plan if we do this? Oh, right. So, because they know that the NWO will react that poorly, the Void Engineers keep the existence of Threatnol secret and deal with it all by themselves. Now, granted, that might be this might be a self-fulfilling prophecy, because the Void Engineers refusing to call and ask for help might be what results in apocalypse if Threatnol ever returns, or by this point, when they return. But do you think we as people would be happier if we knew the apocalypse was coming, or if we didn't know it was coming?
I think it'd be a mixed bag.
Man of ignorant bliss.
Where, Cal, did you ever see that the M. Night Shyamalan movie Old?
I did not know.
Now, it was based off of a French graphic novel called Sandcastles.
Mhm.
And towards the end of that book, they tell it. I think I might have told a story in the show before about, but fuck it, it's my show. I'll say it again. Where it's this king that controls this giant kingdom in the Middle East, and he's approached one day by a witch who tells him, "In 10 years, death will approach you. and will take your soul, and then leaves. That king, over the next 10 years, builds these absolutely massive castles, surrounds himself with guards, will journey between castle to castle, avoiding death who's chasing after him. And in doing so, alienates himself from his family, from his kids, from his subjects, and just becomes this paranoid wreck that never gets the chance to actually enjoy his life. And when the 10-year period finally comes, death appears over him while he's asleep and says, "It's time." And the king finally realizes, "Oh, I wasted my entire life because you were inevitable, where I could have been enjoying myself instead of trying to avoid you when you are inevitable." And that's how the story ends.
That's not living. That's not dying.
It's you're surviving, but not necessarily living either.
It's like in Wall-E when, the captain's arguing with the autopilot Otto, and, Otto's trying to convince him that Earth isn't hospitable yet. And, the captain says to him, "I don't want to survive. I want to live."
It's also Ruttin the Snowman and Smiling Friends in the freezer, where, sure, he'll live forever in the freezer, but who wants to live forever in the freezer? Who wants to live that kind of life?
There's a comic.
I'm a freak, though.
Yeah, there's a comic of like a whale laying on the shore of a beach, and he's just looking up as the sun sets over the cliffs and birds are flying by, and he goes, "Magnificent. I might have never known."
Exactly that, because you could it's the whole thing with like Pythagoras' cave, where the people are looking at the shadows aren't seeing the truth, but they're still happy all the same now, aren't they? Now you can go outside the cave and see the world for the way it is, and it sucks. So you see why the person that left the cave was attacked by the people that was looking at the shadows, because you don't want to admit that the world that you thought was peaceful and that you could survive in and that you were knowledgeable in was a lie, and that you have nothing once you realize it's a lie. So this is why the Void Engineers want to burn this by themselves, because if they told anyone about this, it would be the end of the world as we knew it. You can either postpone the end of the world today, and just keep it going and keep it going and keep it going until eventually it comes for you, or we can go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off and ruin everything today. So, how do you want the world to end? Is what they're asking.
Well, I'd like to live as long as I could.
All right. And now we go into relations.
Oh, good. The part I forgot to do. Well, I didn't do because I didn't get there yet.
You only have 4 sections in this book.
Right. So let me just, let me just fucking, grind through this real quick then. Okay. I mean, they only really talk about the other. Well, I think they just talk about
because they don't really have anything to do with the
conventions.
traditions now, do they?
No, they really don't. So
Some of them they do, though.
Yeah.
There's
3 in particular, but that's it.
Yeah, most of the time, the Void Engineers are going to be spending their time in the Umbra or out discovering things where no other people are. But, starting at the top, we have the Progenitors. As the book says, our fellow loose cannons, the Progenitors, work pretty closely with the Engineers on many assignments. Whenever the Void Engineers bring back an alien, they want to give them the Progenitors to, study them and make clones and modifications.
Yeah. They have Greys. They found aliens on Mars and on the Moon, and they have them in tanks.
Yes.
Yeah, they're called Fae.
And then they, also help the Iteration X improve their physical selves, their biology, in order to make them more acclimated to surviving long periods of time in space or underground or in the ocean or in a mountain. Give and take. We give you cool shit to look at. You give us cool stuff to help us live longer. And then, good.
I have a feeling that he would get upset if we use his likeness, but part of me wanted to use Steve Cambion from Truth Seekers as as the thumbnail for this episode.
I do not know who that is.
He's a guy that exposes like fake alien sighting con artists.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And he has like sketches where he'll dress up as aliens and say, "I'm here to set the record straight. We're not here to have sex with humans. Humans are disgusting."
That's would
not
surprise me.
Humans are disgusting. We would never mate with them. They don't have the proper tentacles.
So I'm trying to think, name a story where alien cells get implanted into a human body.
The Flood.
My mind honestly went to Final Fantasy VII.
I would
I'm
fly.
gonna go with classic Alien.
Yes.
So those stories, the Void Engineers and Progenitors make it happen.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
fair. Oh yeah, System Shock 2, you could technically implant yourself with the virus.
These two idiots combined and made the Manny.
Yeah.
It is, and now you get to go into
Our loose cannons.
and you get to go into a giant rectum and fight the Manny.
That's
Beg
disgusting.
your pardon.
Or the
Yeah, that's the final
Leviathan
level.
from Dead Space.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
all this like crazy shit because I don't know. You want to combine an alien cell with a human cell.
Yep.
It worked out great, didn't it?
Let's see what happens.
Who's,
We have created the Torment Nexus from the famous sci-fi novel Don't Create the Torment Nexus. Anyhow,
Wait.
what's up?
Huh. If they doing that, is it the same like when the werewolf has like the merit spirit breed?
Yes.
Huh. Okay.
Yep.
Who is next on our list?
That would be Iteration X. So, of all the conventions, they do work the best with Iteration X. They consider themselves as something of like a sibling convention. Similar, futuristic visions. They kind of respect each other's work. Always looking to push more into the, into the future. This is the most prevalent with one of the methodologies within the Void Engineers, which is the Cybernauts. They help IX, map out the digital web with the same conception, exploration, discovery doctrine that they use for most of their missions. Both of them are pretty bitter about the virtual adepts, as it usually goes. The feuds between them become either hardcore mind killers or swashbucklers who occasionally trade sides. Some people would think it's, usually the younger mages that would be more willing to trade sides, but it's actually the older ones who have started to realize that they have more of a similar goal than more people would care to admit. Excuse me, goodness. But the early Celestial Masters and Seekers couldn't be bothered with technology. Whatever worked in the field was good enough for them. As scientists advanced, top ranks realized that they fell short of the technocratic ideal, and, it didn't invent a whole lot of technology on their own.
And nowadays in second edition, they look at Iteration X and say they're lost. They're lost. They've fully bent the knee to the NWO, and now we can't say shit to these people anymore.
Yep, they are very concerned about their dependence on the machine gods. That doesn't stop the engineers from helping them if they need it.
And we talked about said machine gun in Iteration X episode.
Yep,
Man,
basically.
I'm looking at the revised convention book, and that is totally a different tone of what I'm reading. Because,
yeah.
You go.
No, you're looking at the book too. I'm looking at. You're looking at. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, Iteration X is terrifying to the Void Engineers. Apparently, I don't know what the hell happened from first edition to revised.
Well, they lost their way. They bit the knee to the NWO.
Pretty much.
That's what happened. Like they say, like the NWO had a conversation with Iteration X one day, and then the dimensional anomaly happened, and they changed for the worst ever since that day.
Yeah, so much so that the Void Engineers have banned any and all trips to Octoctonia because the people they send there aren't coming back.
And at the same, you notice like computer with capital C isn't around to tell them that you can't save the spirit sphere anymore.
Yeah.
So now you have Iteration X members, they're going into the spirit, and then the Void Engineers have to very quickly run after them, grab them, and say, "No, do not go over there. You don't know what the fuck's going to happen to you."
Where the hell do you think you're going? Get your ass back here!
Yeah,
And
they have
who
to
the hell
drag
do you
them
think
back.
you are to tell me how not to advance humanity? I
And then,
am a machine.
like usually, the only way to solve the issue is just let the Iteration X member learn from the School of Hard Knocks, and he will never come back home again.
That's not very much
Nope,
of a
that
good
don't-
lesson, now is it?
Yeah.
Nope,
Where-
but it took care of itself, though.
Where you know what? Icarus flew too close to the sun. The story of the Iteration X summarized.
Yeah, they do. And now they're the Borg, and they're going to try to kill everybody they know.
Let's see.
Next, the NWO and the Syndicate are kind of lumped together in this one. They don't like either of them. As far as the Void Engineers are concerned, they're boogeymen. The boogeymen are bad business. The big joke was created for their benefit. They do their best to look like dull little citizens when their agents are around. All they are is just endless paperwork and relentless conformity, and that isn't what the Void Engineers are all about. The Ivory Tower likes detailed information, tight schedules, total loyalty, or else everybody involved dies. The Hollow Men are even worse.
They say in there's a paragraph in second edition that says, many traditionalists ask us, why do we work with the Union at all? Well, that's a good question, and the simple answer is this. NWO is in control of the world. What do you think is going to happen to us if we try to leave?
Well,
Same thing that happened to the virtual adepts and the Sons of Ether.
Yes. Where the Sons of Ether are a bunch of fucking idiots that are going nowhere fast, and the virtual adepts are just seething 24/7 about how they were done dirty by the NWO.
well, I mean, they were, but then again, the NWO does that for a living.
Yeah. These are two groups that are, in all honesty, living in the past. Where, yes, the virtual adepts can still achieve their paradigm. The Sons of Ether, no, that group just exists. But at this point, they just exist.
However, imagine what would happen if the Void Engineers do break away from the Technocracy and they go to the Sons of Ether. We did say that they proved that the Sons of Ether's paradigm exists.
What?
So imagine if they go back to those guys, say, we done you dirty, we're sorry, here, we proved you were right.
We
Go
created
nuts with that.
We created the Ether engine. Behold, you can do whatever you want with this, and the Sons of Ether are automatically validated, and they're finally doing something as a faction again after 100 years of having a thumb up their ass.
Well, I mean, what are they going to do when, an enemy faction already controls the ether particle?
Yes, you just gotta hope that you get to them before the NWO and progenitors and Generation X can.
Yeah, about right.
Or the Syndicate finds out and sells it to them. Amazing.
Yep.
See, speaking of Syndicate, should we go to the Syndicate?
Yeah, Syndicate. Let's see. Well, I don't know. Like I said, they're pretty much lumped together. The Void Engineers hate the hell out of both of them. Both of them will, do things like, both groups make life difficult for them whenever they step out of line. They'll block space travel programs among the masses, lock up dissidents, assassinate renegades, and station bully boys and infiltrators and constructs and crews. They hate us, we hate them. Sad and simple.
And
But also imagine like Syndicate making movies, sci-fi movies about what happened to Void Engineers, but they completely changed the story, and Void Engineers are pissed.
Oh yeah, exactly.
or the Syndicate saying, "You're in space? Take us to space. We want to film a movie in space."
Just go full Mordenkainen with that thing.
So
Yeah.
would this make Christopher Nolan a fucking Syndicate member?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I need a nuke for the Oppenheimer movie. I bet. Hold up.
You remember we were talking to Ham, and like Ham felt a heat wave the day that happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
Now, Kyle, you remember how we've been bringing up a hypothetical split in Civil War in the Syndicate in the Technocracy?
Yes.
The Void Engineers can finally lay something to rest. They say that if there is going to be a Civil War, they will, without a doubt, throw their hat in with the Syndicate.
Yes.
Just immediately. They're looking at the Syndicate with fingers crossed saying, please, and make Cyberpunk a thing on Earth. Please throw the NWO out of power. Please.
Honestly, humanity as a whole would benefit.
Yeah.
And
We're
behold,
Because corporations aren't that bad, right? Like,
Yeah,
are a
what-
fucking sucker.
would you rather live in North Korea or South Korea?
South Korea, obviously.
South Korea.
I want to live in Poland.
Well, I wanna
Scream
stay in
if you
America,
love
but,
Poland.
that's not part of the options.
Hell yeah.
And kind of after that, it's kind of like one sentence replies towards all the other traditions after that.
Yeah,
Because-
basically.
'Cause-
No
'cause,
respect for the traditions.
Because like when the fuck do they interact with the traditions.
Yeah,
Depends
on where you're
they really don't.
And now they do have opinions on them in second edition. Where Storyteller, do you want to go through this?
Well, of course. Which one do you want to start with?
Well,
Or should we
begin with
just
the
do
Akashics.
alphabetical? All right, the Akashic Brotherhood. To say there's peaceful coexistence between us and the Akashics would be a misnomer. We don't really coexist with them. They do their thing in the corners of the world the Technocracy has little hold in. Not that our paths don't cross, it's just uncommon. And as long as you aren't trying to sterilize one of their holy sites or hunting them to put them into brainwashed bipedal tanks, they aren't likely to get hostile. Sometimes the young ones do. That's youth for you. Some in their order have commented on the increased number of Asian void engineers. Sometimes that's stated with hope that cultural understanding will bear fruit. Other times that comes with disaster at our Western trappings.
So the Akashic Brothers have their thing over there. The Void Engineers have their thing over there, and next to never do they ever cross paths.
They got their Legos, we got our Legos.
And you will, and they're on opposite sides of the lunch table, and they will never talk to each other.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
See, Celestial Choristers. They describe it in two different groups: the useless ones and dangerous ones. Guess which one they run into the most?
Chances are it's the dangerous ones.
Now, the dangerous ones are hunting down an Nefandi all day, every day, but they will just as easily turn on you the minute they find out that you denied the divinity of Jesus Christ and the existence of God.
I mean, there is some little sub-faction called like Sisterhood of Gabriella.
Yes.
In the Umbra fighting fucking demons.
Yeah, send those chicks to fight the Threatenol. I think they'll come out on top.
Exactly. The power of God forcing back an alien invasion.
Simply 2,000 point battle of Sister of Battle and Necrons.
Yeah, exactly that. That's what it is.
So, like you said, the dangerous ones do take on the Nefandi. You don't want to be in their way. Either they'll decide you look a little too dark side and lash out, or they'll just punch through you to get to their target. And they'll sleep well at night, too, because you're just, and I quote, just some heathen technocrat. Plus, since they're going after mutual threats, it pays for us to let them do their thing. Funny thing is that this attitude sort of makes them NSCs, frenemies, NSCs operatives routinely and anonymously slip known Inquisitors information on the whereabouts of some batshit evil and then get out of the way. Kind of like what they do with hunters.
The Code of Ecstasy.
All right. Well, some of the more desperate in our ranks argue that their flawed understanding of time is almost as functional as inspired science's understanding. The fact remains that, as potential military assets, ecstatics aren't especially useful. Some are handy in firefights, to be sure, due to their chemical cocktails that speed up the body's rate of sensory processing and muscle reaction. That's not enough to warrant active combat cooperation. A ship needs discipline, and these free-love raver kids don't know the meaning of the word. That said, there's one place where these traditionalists come in useful. Shore leave. It's almost a rite of passage among the enlisted. When a ship docks Earthside or anywhere else where shore leave is an option, the younger guns sneak off, quote-unquote, to party with ecstatics. And as long as no one wins up to in a stretcher or worse, the brass turns a blind eye to it. So
I love the Void Engineers more now.
There it is. They're not hurting anybody. They're just getting their freak on.
I'm okay with that. I like these
considering
guys.
the shit you go on in space, God, you're gonna need the ecstatics to just like blow off all that steam.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's
Wait,
literally
you're gonna
like.
tell me
Go ahead.
it's like literally pirates docking the ship and going straight to brothels.
Yes.
Pretty much.
You dock, and then you go out, you get fucked up, wasted, you have a good lay, and then you've got your R&R in before you ship off for your next deployment.
Daddy, where's Mommy? She's in space, sweetie. Like in heaven? No, I mean like literal space.
She's fighting the Borg, honey.
Yeah. But we may or may not ever see her again.
Oh.
Let's see. Now for these two, we have to read them back to back. I'll read Dream Speakers.
All right.
For every dream speaker with a live and let live attitude, 3 others want to you personally eradicated. Thankfully, most of these types are actively militant. If you run into one and she starts spouting about how you're an Umbra murderer or how you're keeping the Avatar storm alive, just walk away. That's part of an overall goal to avoid firefights with the Void. Whenever you can, you never know which will be the one to cost you. If you do find one willing to cooperate and can deal with the cognitive dissonance of their dimensional bullshit, just some temporary partnerships are prove valuable. Do not turn down assets because they look and talk funny. Now, immediately follow this with you, Thantos.
Of our allies among the traditions, we've spent more and more time with Euthanatoi. We have a common enemy. We need to eliminate Threat Null for the sake of the Union, and they want to give Threat Null their good death. And for a branch of people painted as psychotic murder junkies, they're well disciplined. The relationship isn't just a shared enemies. The Euthanatos control the most stable launch window on Earth, Ravana's navel in India, which makes this partnership dangerous, as in that regard we need them more than they need us. So we keep a limit on how often we ask favors from the assassin tradition in order to minimize our exposure to them. Many Euthanatoi have experience navigating and, more importantly, returning from entropic space. Even though it's stupid hard to translate their superstitious lingo into scientific terms, the rare Necronaut mission usually has a Euthanatos guide. When dealing with Euthanatoi, don't forget that their idea of fun Saturday night is to find people who need to die in order to be free and fulfill that. That could mean you, a teammate, a civilian, etc. Sure, that's an exaggeration most of the time.
Now, in your tradition games, if you have a Euthanatoi or a Dream Speaker, or if your mission or if your Chronicle is entirely based around the Void Engineers, there will be crossover between these 3 at some point.
Oh
Because the
boy,
Void
I get to talk to Venavan Brown. What a fucking honor.
Because where is Autochthonia and Threat Null coming from?
From the fucking Umbra.
Yeah. And what is the tradition that's known for traversing back and forth between the Umbra and knows how to best deal with spirits?
Dream
Euthanatoi.
speakers.
And who is the best tradition to call for in a fight?
Euthanatos.
Hey,
So
pal, how
we-
you doing?
So these are 2 people that you are going to have to frequently call without the NWO knowing, and you're going to have to hide that paper trail so the Syndicate doesn't find out and snitch on you. That they admit that, yes, we cannot fight the Threat Null by ourselves. The Dream Seekers and Euthantos need to be on our side for this to be possible. But the thing is, this actually pays off in their benefit, because would this work the same if they went to the Order of Hermes and told them about this?
No.
No.
Not really.
Where the Dream Speakers and Euthantos are known for being reasonable. You can negotiate with these 2. You can't do that with any other tradition. So when you tell them, hey, we got these aliens from outer space coming to destroy all life on Earth, both of them are immediately going to drop whatever they're doing and immediately run to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of reasonable and useful, the Hollow Ones.
Yeah.
The exact opposite of that. These
Tell me
guys
about-
can generally
tell
be
me.
relied on for local intelligence and area knowledge, but don't consider them useful in a fight. Certainly some are capable of it, and their hearts are in the right place, but the trouble with disaffected counterculture kids is that they have shit for combat training and aversion to military discipline. If you have asked to join up as recruits, often seeing some real NSC and BCD badasses handle themselves, sometimes it just takes a glimpse of seeing something beyond moping around in a nightclub, something more meaningful and heroic, to sort these kids out. If they ask, take them in. After all, the Council of 9 doesn't consider these guys theirs.
That's exactly what the NWO says too. Hollow Ones are just yours sort of picking. It's like grapes off a vine. Just go up, snatch one up, and bring them into your coven.
Gonna show you the world.
Exactly. It's going to be a terrible place. You want to do anything to change it, Hollow One?
You're
I
gonna die,
guess.
baby.
I'll
You're
die
gonna die.
someday.
You're gonna die today.
It's oh, the sun's gonna burn out in anyway. I might as well die fighting an alien threat. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Now, my boys, the Order of Hermes.
Yes, you're very flawed boys. I like these guys too.
I love these guys. On the plus side, these traditionalists understand process, structure, chain of command, and so on. Their ways mean discipline. On the downside, they're nut jobs for thinking that playing Harry Potter will somehow make the world a better place. Joint operations are risky, as their presence is likely to foul things up for us as ours is there for them. So when it comes to using hermetics willing to cooperate, treat as in case of emergency break glass. And then if you have to break the glass, coordinate them as you would a nuke strike from afar. In the last 2 years, we've had multiple incidents involving a lone hermetic or a small group strike against operatives in the field, both Earthside and beyond. These incidents appear to be operating off of intelligence that the hermetics really shouldn't have. So when considering a hermetic's help, make sure the source is trustworthy and the need is great enough to take the risk.
Well, that Harry Potter statement, but what we were saying about science over magic. Imagine if the Order of Hermes got their way, and then every school was Hogwarts.
If
That'd be
the
pretty
founders
sick,
were
not gonna
all,
lie.
Lucius Malfoy.
The school that famously has the hospital wing. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's the world that Order of Hermes wants you to live in.
Well,
Yeah,
what are you
and,
worried about? Like a little bit of magical
Oh.
mishap? Where's your sense of adventure?
Okay, oh, you know what? Let's put Hogwarts in a fucking America. Avada Kedavra 50 times. 50 school dead. Come on.
Oh, we're gonna
it's gonna
have
be
the
there.
Hogwarts
Yeah,
school
he-
shooting
he
with
is-
a
he is
bomb. I
about
get
that,
that.
It's not
Yes.
that bad. We're trying to get these kids understand that magic is not something you should fuck around with, okay?
Crucio.
This is why Harry Potter could not work in America. It had to be Britain.
Yeah.
By the way,
I cast
they had
gun.
magical
Guns for
they
knives.
had magical schools in America. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I will take over for the Sons of Ether.
Yeah.
The Etherites suffered greatly when the dimensional anomalies sundered Victoria's station. We used to hear reports of Ether missions to reclaim Victoria and other holdings, but just like us in the COP, Horizon, Autochthonia, and so on, the silence from such a mission reports is telling. We do team up from time to time when the threat emerges that targets both of us. In fact, they've turned the tide on more battles than we can count against Threat Null. Combining assaults involving etheric pseudoscience are somehow more effective against Null than either of us fighting alone. If nothing else, the ships we need for large-scale operations, our buddy movie team-ups might have licked this Threat Null issue years earlier, if it wasn't for, the whole secrecy element. So, this is the only group of the Technocracy that has nothing bad to say about the Sons of Ether whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Guys, what's that sound in the distance? You hear that? It sounds like someone screaming, "Join the Sons of Ether!" I don't know what it's saying. Can you guys hear it? Join the Sons of Ether! They're your friends!
It really is that whole romance trope where you got your ex to break up with you only because you knew there was something going on in your life that you didn't want them to get involved in.
Yeah.
Where you still love them, they don't love you.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how
Kiss and
can
make
they
up,
say?
guys.
I mean, how can they say something bad about them? Like they gave them exactly the engine. Like, oh yeah, thank you guys for the unlimited quintessence. We're not gonna say anything bad about you in our book. Okay.
And
Oh,
meanwhile,
shit.
and then immediately the Verbena.
Oh!
All right, it's one paragraph.
Fine.
The Verbena are a pain in our ass. Take everything about the Celestial Chorus, cut out all the useful parts, and you have these assholes. Their hatred of the Technocracy burns brightly, so the best reception you'll get is just a bunch of profanity-laden posturing. All said, it's no big loss. They just bleed all over your floor in order to do their little rituals, and that's just disgusting, not to mention unsanitary.
Yeah,
Yep.
I want to like the Verbena. I really
Don't
do.
try.
But
There's
Don't even
nothing to
try.
like
Damn
about
it.
these. This is a fucking mistake. Bring in the Bettini. Bring in the Slafficati instead.
Bro, but I remember when you tried to run Mage for the first time and it was a Christmas special.
Yeah, I learned
was
the hard
Void,
way.
I was Void Engineer that was ex-Verbena, which is the funniest thing.
I shall now
Ex-Verbena,
commence
what
my
the fuck?
ultimate right.
Where-
Just pull down the pants and shit on the floor of their ship. What the fuck are you doing? Take
Yeah,
that, Technocracy! Take me to my bean and cheese burrito. God damn it, you people are disgusting!
Local Verbena comes in and jizzes on the floor and summons a demon.
I didn't know the lore there, so I chose Verbena because druidic stuff, right? But now it's like, okay, no.
There is
No.
fertile ground for the Verbena, it's just that they weren't executed properly.
Hell no.
Virtual
And the-
adepts.
Let's read this one in its entirety.
Alright. That the rest of the Union has such a hate-on for the adepts means cooperation with them is problematic at best. Both because they can't trust us and because we're too often watched Earthside by our quote-unquote peers, but some recognize that we aren't like the rest of the Union and continue to court us into joining the other side. Sometimes our cybernauts work with them to neutralize threats attempting to breach through using the digital web, or perhaps even born in the digital web. For the most part, though, that's where adepts and iterators fight for control and of that domain. So we keep our presence in the digital web at a commando level. We can't afford to take sides in that front, but neither can we afford to ignore the threats that look to exploit the region.
So, virtual apps. Why aren't the Void Engineers joining you? Because you got nothing going on for you. You can't make progress in your own paradigm until Iteration X makes progress first.
If anything, the virtual adepts should join the Void Engineers, because the Void Engineers are the only ones doing something.
There is just go ahead, bow your heads, admit that you're sorry, and just dissolve into the Void Engineers.
Yeah. After the Void Engineers fuck off from the Technocracy.
And all honesty, the virtual adepts would be absolutely fantastic for exploring cyberspace, because you get you get those two to team up on the mission. You're fine.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
easy sailing.
Absolutely.
It's practically a success.
Where you remember Cyberpunk 2077, the net running scenes?
Yeah.
So when that evil rogue AI shows up to devour you, you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah. The virtual adept busts out their cyberware and he just takes it out. It's like, I got your back, you disgusting technocrat. And you traitorous traditionalist. And a better friendship was never had.
But behold, we're the Voodoo Boys. We want to destroy the Black Wall because we hate people.
Yeah, if I was to have a gun from Cyberpunk, it would be a gun that sends people into Black Wall, and I would use it on Iteration X.
There it is. You get to see all the different rogue AIs that Raish Bartmoss turned evil.
Oops.
Yeah.
And
Simply, I'm gonna send you to Cyber Hell with that gun, and I'm not joking. This is literally, I'm sending you to Cyber Hell.
Yeah. Kyle, at some point, this is gonna be this is in the distant future. I'm gonna take you on a journey through Cyberpunk 2013 to 2077.
Really?
Okay.
2013.
Yeah,
we're confirmed.
We're starting. No, we're already going to be a variety channel, but going through all the Cyberpunk books, this is something that I cannot wait to take you down.
I love sci-fi. I love cyberpunk, and I would love to play. Well, actually, I haven't played. I'd love cyberpunk as the genre. I haven't played the games yet, but
I actually have Cyberpunk Red and most of the books on my computer as we speak.
Very nice. I have 77 on my PC. I just haven't fired it up to play it yet because I'm playing through Dead Space right now.
And the Humble Bundle, the Humble Bundle usually sells these books in bulk for cheap.
Oh yeah.
So I'll quickly summarize the Nefandi. All right. You remember what your parents or teachers told you about not getting into cars with strangers no matter what they say or offer? That's the Nefandi, where basically it's just a group of spin doctors trying to say, hey, you want to worship an evil god with us? Hop in the van, kid, and we'll show you what the universe really looks like. And you can imagine where it's going to take you.
Yeah.
Hey kid, you want to do some drugs?
Basically, no, that's the ecstatics, but you know.
I have some candy for you.
The ecstatics hunt down people like that.
Where for a while, the Void Engineers did not take the Nefandi seriously until 1910, where they began to realize that the worm was real and that the Nefandi were in contact with it.
Yep.
And Then they start taking the funding dead seriously after they saw that. Where, same thing with Marauders, where it's the same as dealing with a teenager. It's complicated. It doesn't mean shoot it until it stops moving. What you want to do with a Marauder? How about you just stay as far fucking away from it as we possibly can? Just do what to do when you see the Marauder? Do not pursue the Marauder under any circumstances.
No.
Where
Leave him alone.
Burger Creek released this video on Marauders and it was really informational. So Storyteller, what usually happens when you try finding a Marauder?
Well, I imagine it's akin to fighting Bugs Bunny trained by Bruce Lee. It's going to be confusing, and you're not going to be walking away with it.
It's the same as say you're playing a Call of Duty game and there's a hacker in the lobby while everyone else is lagging.
Yeah.
Where
It's not going to be fun.
Where he's just going to pop out of the wall with the shotgun that shoots through every wall with a single shot and it's automatic. And meanwhile, you shoot at him, but your bullets fly off 50 feet off to the right. Where the Marauder can just do whatever the fuck he wants, and none of your attacks will even work to begin with.
No.
Best thing you can do is just send them on their way. Just don't.
You just wait for Paradox to eventually catch up with them, and then the problem will solve itself.
Yeah, they're a self-fulfilling problem. They'll take care of itself.
Now read Vampires in this book verbatim.
Oh boy, Jesus Christ! What the just die already? You know what I mean. We used orbital mirrors to exterminate the ancient vampire Zepathasura in Bangladesh. We unleashed enlightened enhanced nuclear warheads on that site. To say we love vampires might just be a wee bit of an understatement. Of course, with war resources being what they are, the front against vampires isn't priority. That's what slipping information to progenitors action scientists is for.
They're saying, can the Gehenna Wormwood scenario just happen already?
Yeah.
Where the withering happens and the problem just solves itself.
But also imagine the Ravnos wakes up, the entire week of nightmares ended. It's like, whoo. Well, at least we got that Kane guy. Wait, that was
Kane guy?
one of the.
That wasn't him.
They think they was Kane. It's like, wait, he's one of the 13 different guys that have the same power level. Hell no.
It's said that scene. Is that scene in Helsing? You killed Alucard? Yes, I cut off his head. Oh, that's just step 1. What about steps 2 through 10?
Ah, Christ!
Team 4-star used to be so cool. I miss you guys.
I miss them too, but again,
Uh,
nothing good ever lasts.
Werewolves. These guys are 200% mad all day, every day, and have only gotten madder since the dimensional anomaly. Think of them as the dream speakers, but remove the reason and add teeth. And that's what you got. Use 7-9 and enhanced napalm as authorized. There are 2 tribes that they're familiar with, the Glassworkers and the Bonards. They know that just because they live in cities does not mean that they're civil, and they want to get a hold of your cairns. Sorry, not your cairns.
Your sites, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
your sites. Do not let them into sight.
Yeah, do not let them into the facility. They
Too late. The progenitors already had that happen.
Meanwhile, there's also the Red Talons, where the Red Talons say, "Hey, if you want engineers, you want to go to space? Well, don't mind if we help you."
Weirdest team up ever, honestly, the Red Talons.
Yeah, like imagine you have Void Engineer just having the nice day off on the moon, just hopping around with low gravity, and just guy appears from out of nowhere and he suffocates. He's like, oh my god, what's happening?
Or worse yet, a black
kill all the
spiral
humans.
pops out of
I
the
am part
eye,
of the Void Engineer.
or a black spiral pops out of the ISS and cuts somebody in half.
Ooh. It's that.
All right.
Oh my god, imagine BSDs having the quintessence fuel.
The
creative
ether?
quintessence.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
the
over.
ether.
It's over.
Oh, it's so Jover. They corrupted Ether, and it's like, okay, unlimited Banes.
Well, that's what the same reason you just answered the question as to why haven't the Void Engineers given the Sons of Ether this, because the Sons of Ether are so fucking irresponsible with everything that they would lose the Ether if they had it.
Probably.
That's the
Yeah,
reason
that
why.
tracks.
And also, it's just with the Red Talons, I'm just about. You remember a regular show where they had the keyboard that like they would sing a song and it would happen if they used the keyboard?
Send
You mean the first
him to
episode?
the moon. Send him to the moon.
Yeah,
Ooh.
you just have a single Red Talon with that keyboard, just typing that in. He's got the white pages in front of him. He's just reading off the phone book of people he's sending to the moon.
Basically.
You'd probably make a song akin to like "We Didn't Start the Fire" for that, honestly.
Yeah. That's
Don't
all.
worry, I saw this before.
There it is. Yeah, that's your Werewolf Chronicle. That's your Mage Chronicle. Like people are disappearing as it turns out. It's one Red Talon sending them all to Luna, and that's the plot. All right. Fairies don't exist. Ghosts who give a fuck. Hunters will just do what they want. And then Threat Null, maximum security threat, DEFCON 1. All of our resources are on deck handling this.
Quote from the book: "Nuke them from orbit. It's the only way to be sure."
There's. We're going to launch a nuke from space. Who said that? Who said that, Kyle?
Guys,
Everyone.
I get the note from the head honchos, and it says exterminatus.
Yeah, it's I did not declare no exterminatus. And you reminded me of like you've read the Horse Heresy books, haven't you?
No, but I know history.
It's one of my favorite moments from the Horse Heresy series is Perturbo's book, where he sees a planet just exploding and he says, "What the fuck's going on? I did not order exterminatus." And he says, "Oh no, it's just the planet's doing it on its own."
What do you mean it's doing it on its own?
Yeah, it's always so funny because Iron Warriors literally played Warhammer in Warhammer.
Yeah.
That
Kyle,
was
in case you're forgetting, these are the same people that laugh at stripes.
That what?
They paint yellow and black stripes
Oh,
on something
yeah,
and they think it's funny. Yeah.
Stripes!
The industrial stripes.
Stripes!
See, what divisions are there to the Void Engineers? See,
You mean-
hey, I
Oh,
just noticed
buddy, let me tell you.
They reuse a picture from first edition in the second edition book.
Yeah. So,
Recycling.
methodologies.
Right.
At the top, you have research and execution. This is the part that I did actually take notes on. How about that? Quite simply, the Void Engineers couldn't do shit without R&E. There are
Now,
two...
why is it called execution instead of development?
Oh, well, here's the thing. Development, it has two parts. Development, which are the long-term heel-dragging creation of plans that are supposed to be strategic over very long periods of time, and then execution, things that need to be put into action as soon as they are researched. So
You'll have time for development. You just got to use the shit what you got now.
Yep, basically. It's like, we don't have time to field test it here. This is the field test. Go. That's execution.
Yes.
Aptly named the Q Division by some of the other Void Engineers. They are fast and furious on their development of new weapons, new equipment, and new computers, new cruisers, new everything. Their job, but the thing is, they don't just research. It's their job to test them as well. They go into the field, they test the new stuff, and then they look at how it currently works and comes up with new and exciting ways to kill things. Only the best and brightest making it into R&E. And there is an intensive screening process that comes into, but it is far from perfect, as many either burn out or blow themselves up, which is really, really funny.
More than likely, when you play a Void Engineer, this is who you wind up playing as.
Yep. I want to build a gun that can do this shit.
It's your basic, like, you remember how the Lords of the Summit are like your basic Shadow Lord, the Predator Kings are your basic Red Talon. This is your basic Void Engineer.
Unless you want to play Earth Defense Force 5 and be the EFD, or as I like to call it, the EDF deploys. And anyway.
I really like these guys.
Yes.
Hell divers.
Yes.
Basically, yes. This is the Helldivers, the Earth Frontier Division. A big part of the convention does remain on Earth, though it is, a very select members of the Void Engineers. They shuttle between different specializations. Obviously, the ocean is going to be a mainstay for this division. They go down, they research stuff on the ocean floor, they look at everything that's down there. Because, well, not everything, there's not a whole lot of people that can be down there. The aquatic exploration teams are called squids, and, they'll find all sorts of things, like creatures that have never been seen before, or the relics of ancient civilizations sunk to the bottom of the sea, all kinds of cool stuff down there.
Right.
And the aquatically modified constructs from IX and progenitors tend to work as security on these excursions. And then you have, actually, I'm going to read this part verbatim because I thought this was really cool. In 1929, Admiral Richard E. Byrd flew over the South Pole and saw a land of lush vegetation, lakes, animals resembling large buffaloes and mammoths, and humans. He was narrating as he flew, and when he began to relate what he saw, his radio transmission, which was being aired on radio stations around the world, was cut off suddenly. He also wrote a pamphlet about it, and the men in black scrambled to cover it up. Since the Arctic, cryoregional specialists, research teams, or snow dogs diligently cover those areas based out of the state-of-the-art construct called the Big Chill. Basically, they found this lush green continent down there and then made it inhospitable. Good job.
Great.
This part in particular, I thought was incredibly important. There's also engineers fascinated with Central and South America since the days of conquistadors. There's rainforest, there's plants, animal life, huge biodiverse landscape. And then they realized when the weed whackers were taking a look through there, they encountered a lot of resistance. So they know about the Amazon War. They know what's going on down there. And then
So you wanna play Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
yes, and then similar reports out of the Himalayas and the Andes Mountains with the IHEEs, or Inaccessible High Elevation Exploration Teams. These explorers, reinforcers, and techs that travel there. And, there's also subterranean explorers that found huge numbers of reality deviants hidden beneath the ground. They cover every inch of the Earth for places that nowhere else would possibly go. That is what the
Void
EDF
engineer
does.
Cave diver.
Yes.
just,
Yes.
just toes sticking out of the of the tunnel is like, I see you, Navandi.
Yes.
Yep.
That's what Nefandi are. You have instances of Void Engineers finding the Nefandi in the Hollow Earth. There's stories involving that.
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness gracious.
Yes.
Anyhow, then you have the Pan-Dimensional Core. So space isn't just the final frontier, it is infinite. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on. As we discussed earlier, the Void Engineers were in space by the mid-19th century, by the time Jules Verne and H.G. Wells were writing their famous books. And then they learned to reach the other planets by the 1920s, and then learned how to kick the Nefandi in the teeth beyond the horizon in the 1940s, and even stretched beyond the solar system by the time the 1950s rolled around. The Pan-Dimensional Core is primarily responsible for setting up the Horizon Realms to, give them base of operations to spread out further. Matter of fact, they even revived Kepler and to help Einstein with the theory of relativity. But the thing is, much like a lot of great inventions, the ether particle was discovered entirely on accident, because Kepler was revived by Kepler. Was only around in the 1400s, and the progenitors revived him in the 1940s to help Einstein with the theory of relativity. But Kepler wanted to do all of his calculations by hand and made a mistake, which accidentally unveiled the ether particle to the Void engineers and made faster than light travel possible because of a mistake.
So we are.
Yes.
As it turns out, the Sons of Ether were wrong, and then the engineer said, "Oh, by the way, you did the math wrong. Here's how it's supposed to be done."
The Void engineers did the math wrong.
Or was it a mistake at all? And then the Void,
the Etherites were actually correct.
Then like somebody just came in with a pencil eraser and just erased that number and then swapped out with something else.
Yeah.
And it was the whole experiment to find the God particle was sabotaged by something that easy.
Basically, yeah. I really want to read this passage verbatim because I think it's really funny. We stretched beyond the solar system in the 50s. We would have been sooner, but Einstein and Kepler were working together to find the error in the theory of relativity. And Kepler, stubborn old coot that he is, insisted on doing his calculations by hand instead of using a newfangled computer. Of course, the error he eventually found was never made public. It's the error that makes faster-than-light travel possible. Wait a minute, Grey Wolf interrupted. You're saying that Johannes Kepler, born in the late 1400s, was helping Albert Einstein in the 1940s? Yeah, Gardner said. Aren't the progenitors wonderful? Newton would have been doing it, but he got knocked off by a Thanatos mobster in the 20s and did a Jimmy Hoffa impersonation. Not even the progenitors can perform a miracle without some preparation. I love that. That is phenomenal.
We gotta find out where this retirement home for all these members of the Technocracy is. Yep,
and it was also the faster than light travel with the pan-dimensional core that found Autoconia. Autochthonia? How the fuck do you pronounce that?
Autochtonia. Yeah.
Autochtonia. Yes. Yeah. Fuck that place. Moving on, cybernauts and cryonauts. So obviously Discovery doesn't stop at the physical universe. The cybernauts, as we said earlier, help map out the digital web, conception, exploration, discovery, especially true on the net. Very bitter about the virtual adepts, hardcore mind killers, swashbucklers, trade sides, freakish competition, mind melting through sending a virus through somebody's computer that alters the frequency of the computer screen to fry your eyes out of your head. That is what they do. Border Corps Division. Their job is basically checkpoint wardens. They stop reality deviants from getting through the gauntlet.
They are the Men in Black.
Basically, yes.
But the movie Men in Black, not the NWO version.
Even though they do work very closely with the IX and NWO, they are the smartest enforcers in the Technocracy. They basically act as their special forces. If a glasswalker keeps tearing his way through the Umbra to go and do some stuff in the spirits, more than likely there's going to be some BCDs waiting on the other side with laser guns.
Yes.
And then the actual black agents, Neutralization Specialist Corps. They eliminate outside intrusions and clean up any proof of supernatural activity. Random elements do not fit well into an equation. They look a lot like NWO black suits, but they act more like the Ghostbusters. They isolate an area of supernatural activity, they clean house, they do the dirty work, and then the black suits clean it up. Sanitation is also part of their effort as well, so sometimes they help out the black suits with that. Pretty cut, clean, and dry.
Straight damage control.
And at the top of everything, the part that I didn't actually, get notes on was probably the most important part. DSEATC. It sits at the top of this mess, handles all the necessary executive decisions. I mean, somebody has to do that. They call themselves Dimensional Science Evaluation Administrating and Training Committee. That's a fucking mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so basically, they run all the Technocrat academies. They, train everybody up. They basically just sort of build everybody up to being, in the proper positions they need to be in the Void Engineers. And this part is a lot of, the two characters arguing with one another, so I didn't really read all that much into it.
Yes. So, Storyteller, do you got anything to say about these guys? Nope.
As far as the Technocracy goes, I can see why Kyle likes these guys. The Void Engineers kick ass. I like them.
They're pretty
And-
fucking cool.
And in terms of government efficiency, there's nothing that the Void Engineers are wasting money on, is there?
No, it's all for a good reason.
Yep.
Give
Yes.
For
the
democracy
Syndicate should
and
give the Void
super.
Engineers more money.
Yes.
Give the money.
No particular reason, none at all.
Money, money, money.
Because as you can tell, they're spending every cent they have. Now in second edition, they put a lot more money behind their weapons because they're dealing with threat null. They're trying to carry the entire weight of the world on their shoulders.
This is my
This.
Glock 40. This is my
Because
problem
they can't trust the
solver.
rest of the Technocracy with this knowledge.
So, with the second edition Void Engineers, you get stuff that looks like this. Hang on a minute, the image is loading. Yeah, like this.
You literally
Like-
just sent Warhammer.
Yeah,
Christ,
literally
this is
Warhammer.
heresy.
It is the
Oh
Tamarine.
my god, my
The-
eyes.
The Tamarine,
Oh.
bitch.
Johnny, I will have to remove you from my Deathwatch game for this.
Yes.
Johnny, I
For
think the Inquisitor would like to have a word with you.
for the Greater Emperor. That's
Oh, Jesus. Why
Yes.
does it always go back to fucking Warhammer?
Well, you can't.
Kyle, it's not about that. It's also in Warhammer. If you were a fan of Warhammer, you would now.
You
Johnny
understand,
as
but
well now.
you're a hipster. You're a hipster. You refuse to get into it because it's popular.
I don't like it because
To be
it's not
fair, there's
popular. I don't
plenty
like
of
it because
hipsters
there's
in
no
Warhammer.
joy in it. It's a joyless
the
fucking
corn.
setting.
Corn. You love being corn. You love
Johnny,
corn.
stop. If you want jolly stuff, go to Leagues of Votan, which are space dwarves. They drink. They have literally the best relationships in their faction from anyone, and they just want to vibe.
They're also
I'm good with
brand
that.
fucking new too. They came out in 2022.
I believe so.
They were reskinned.
And Johnny's gonna
They were
find a way to
rebooted.
call them woke. Watch this shit.
No, actually, I have no issue with the League of Votan at all.
They
Okay.
just don't really have any good models right now.
Yes, and you guys freak the fuck out about the space about the Custodes females. Is that you can fuck the pussy of the Emperor of Mankind? Nobody fucking realized that.
Oh
I
god.
honestly would have accepted female Custodes if GW had handled it better instead of just like, what are you talking about? They've always been here. Why are you
Yes.
such bigots?
It is, and behold, like, that would also appeal to like the growing giant woman demographic in gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appeal to the Gooners. They have all the cash that they
Yeah.
can easily be taken away.
Yeah. So where's my Slanesh models at? Where are
We
they?
actually have those. The Children of the Emperor just got new
I
models
mean
recently.
more. No, there's too many clothes. There's too much clothes.
Okay,
Oh, God.
continuing with.
Sorry, Void Engineers.
We are now a Warhammer podcast. Get the fuck out of here if you came for Mage content.
All right, cool.
Yeah, like
Bye.
there's not-
But the episode
JK, we're back.
is back again.
I hope it records.
and
Yeah,
now the
it did.
OBS is picking
Absolutely
up
did.
All right, so yeah, this is what your average Void Engineer looks like today, and they have to do this themselves because of Threat Null, where now they have to go to Iteration X, now they have to go to Progenitors, now they have to go. Kyle, you remember when we were doing the Syndicate episode 3 months ago,
Yes.
and how the Syndicate said we give the Void Engineers money and then it seemingly disappears. We don't ever see that money again.
Well, yeah, because they're dead in space, being
Yeah,
co-opted into a giant, fleshy, automechanical monster.
Yeah, we know where that money is going to now. Stuff
Yeah.
like this.
guns, armor,
To
everything.
To very quickly summarize their technological innovations and devices without going too deep into mechanics, you have stuff like the Disintegrator. It is an electromagnetic field that breaks down molecular cohesion. It is a little laser gun that they'll shoot that will break you down atom by atom until you just become empty space.
So you literally, it like what the MCP did to Kevin Flynn in the start of Tron.
Yes.
Yes.
Derez them.
Every Necron ever. But it's Warhammer stuff.
The laser blast, a high-powered blast of focused light that will shoot right through you.
Light.
Yeah.
Oh my
And-
god, that's anti-vampire weapon right there.
Yes, behold, you got a vampire that's annoying, you just shoot him with this.
Well, to be fair, I doubt they're going to be finding any vampires in space. At least I
I
hope.
know, but imagine just this lands on Hunter's lab.
Well-
At least one, it will be slaughter.
Well, you wait until Zimichi amasses enough biofuel to eject himself into outer space.
Yeah, I guess so.
He will build a vessel using the Carpathian Mountains, will clump them together, stuff himself inside of it, and then throw himself into space. And that's the plan.
Great.
Yep.
You're doing your Void Engineer campaign and you just come across fucking Zimichi in space.
Brother, bring the flamer. The heavy flamer.
The Biodisruptor. So you know everything the Life Sphere does?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It reverses all of your Life Sphere effects.
So it's entropy.
Yes, it just it will intentionally invoke paradox into whatever Life Sphere effect you have on your character at the moment. So
Yeah,
behold.
well, that's a little
Fuck
rough.
Verbena in particular.
Yes, get rid of these guys in particular. What else is in? The nitrogen narcosis inducer. What do you think that does?
Gets people high off of nitrous oxide.
Along
It
with giving you a
frees
heart
you.
attack from nitrogen bubbles being in your bloodstream.
Did they kill that man with a heart attack, or did the feds just inject him with heart attack juice?
They kill you with galaxy gas.
Jarvis, fill my helmet with galaxy gas.
It's-
Jarvis, flip that.
See, the behavior modification device. Are you shitting yourself while looking at the threat null? Well, just pull out your smartphone and crank up your Serenity to maximum value, and you'll be fine.
Damn.
You got nothing to worry about. What was it? That episode I was telling you about with I think we were talking about the Iteration X episode, that episode of Black Mirror where your brain was being streamed to you by a company and you had to pay them to feel emotions.
Yeah, I remember that one.
This is that scene. You crank up your Serenity, your pleasure to maximum. And with this.
So this is morphine, basically.
Yeah, you look over there at that giant Eldritch Abomination. Well, just crank up your nonchalance and you will not go insane.
I'm gonna turn on my desensitivity training.
We will handle looking at Narlathotep through ignoring him.
You look at Nyarlathotep and it's just,
I like your funny words, Magic Man.
That's great.
And how do Void Engineers recruit? Kyle, you work for NASA?
No, but if I knew how to code, I probably could.
Okay, you work for NASA, you're hired. What's the Russian version of this? Like the CCCP?
Guess no. I thought that's just like what the USSR was in Russian.
I think so too. But what the fuck is there?
Roscosmos.
Like the Soviet space program.
I know they're
now
called
this is
cosmonauts, but like,
well, now I have to actually look up what this is called. Okay, it was just called the Soviet space program.
Yeah, nothing fancy.
Well, guess what? You're hired. You just work for Nazi Germany and you build a rocket. You're hired.
Nazi schmazi, says Werner von Braun.
See, you're a small writer off of Amazon.com and you wrote a sci-fi novel. You're willing to believe whatever we say. You're hired.
What the? Okay, cool. Do I get to write more?
We're just if you're
No,
willing
you
to.
have to fight Bork.
As far as Void Engineers are concerned, it used to be like astrophysicists and people that work for NASA and had doctorates and QED, and now it's just are you willing to believe what I'm telling you? You are okay. You're a Void Engineer now. Come in.
We got like the seasoned space astronaut, the guy who works on the shuttles, and then we got Lindsay Carey, the chick who writes Love in Space. One of these is not like the other.
It is the scene from Ghostbusters. We are ready to believe you.
Like for me, this is just like this is me thinking. So standards have gone down that much because they've lost that many talented engineers to threat null that now they're just
you're
hiring
catching on.
replacements.
No, the standards have gone down because the Void Engineers are that desperate to throw bodies at this thing.
Yes, they're just foot soldiers to go and immediately die.
You go over to the void engineers and say, do you believe in UFOs, astral projection, mental telepathy, ESP, clairvoyance, spirit photography, telekinetic movement, full trance mediums, the Loch Ness Monster, and the theory of Atlantis? As long as they're steady paycheck in it, I'll believe anything you say.
Basically, yeah.
And there it is.
The void engineers going to a Star Fox fan fiction writer.
You'll be a soldier.
It is. I was just here to sell porn. Why am I going to fight aliens now?
Get the fucking home!
If you survive a year, we'll take you to the planet of the space furries. You'll take your entire stock.
Oh, shit.
The number's not to end, brother.
I hope
Fucking
the
broke
books
Johnny.
I
Just
think
look
I-
outside. It's like the scene from Star Wars Episode 2. The clones are stacking up side by side.
Oh, man.
Who are these
We have-
people? They're the users of fur affinity, brother.
We have 75,000 and there's another million on the way.
Yeah.
Yep, basically. Easy
Alright,
peasy.
So now, how do you contextualize the spheres of magic to fit with the void engineers? Kyle, give me a sphere.
Let's go with life.
The life sphere. Well, I was hoping you were going to say correspondence because I was looking at the correspondence page.
Oh, fine. Correspondence, then fuck it.
Give me a minute. You asked for life or doing life?
It
That's
would
just-
be fair to deny that.
See, I just gotta find the page. Behold, is Johnny unprepared for this? Okay, yes, he is. All right. In this one, like you have the first point into life sphere, right? Which is just detect life.
Yep.
Okay. How about I hold up a heartbeat monitor?
Yeah, it makes
Right,
sense.
Easy enough, right?
You got the ACR with the heartbeat sensor from Modern Warfare 2.
And then as you start going up, it's defense screen versus lower life forms. So that's just basic armor, right?
Yep.
Or behold, I have this ballistic metal. I'm going to graft it into my spacesuit, and I'll be fine. And then you got stuff like defense screening versus higher life forms. Okay, so that's stuff versus werewolves and fairies. It's armor made to resist them, right?
Yeah.
Where you get silver metal plates, you get cold iron. Now, how about adaptation? Where not every planet you visit as a void engineer has a breathable atmosphere, does it?
No, absolutely not.
No.
So, using technology they pointed out for the progenitors, they are injecting themselves with mutagens that last a short time only. That will give them thicker skin, gills, lambent eyes, webbed fingers, respiratory filters, great healing systems, claws, the ability to resist nuclear radiation rays from the sun, the ability to survive any cold environments, the ability to breathe in a silicon-enriched atmosphere, that kind of stuff.
Well, that's pretty cool.
So remember, Major Tom, take your protein pill, put your helmet on. Rap Red, give me a sphere of magic.
You know what? Prime.
All right, Prime. Look at the Prime sphere for you. Okay, so easy enough. Locate quintessence flow where you can just feel the magic. That should be easy enough for any mage, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Now, divert Prime Force. Imagine whatever device you want that can just go over to a node and just suck the magic out of it.
It's
Where?
basically just a rubber hose for magic.
Where they have little like proton packs that will like suck and they suck up the magic, and it'll just put into a battery pack on their back that will then be used to fuel their spells.
Oh my
Specific-
god. Luigi is a void engineer and he catching ghosts.
That's
Yes, exactly.
great.
Oh god, that makes
Here
so
we
much
go.
sense.
You
Mario!
know, and eventually you get into stuff that can just go into a node and just suck all the magic out of it in one go, or you just pull up the magic from one node, walk over, and then shoot it into the ground of another spot, and then put the node over there. In case you need to change these. Or what's this one right here? Terminal sanitation. This effect annihilates a node's ability to channel quintessence. For the most part, this is only done if the wellspring resonance has been tainted through nephondic rituals or marauder corruption. Okay, so basically what that does, you just go over to a node that one of those two own, and you just blow it up. Easy, right? That's not a spell. You just put a stick of dynamite in something and lit it and then ran away.
Exactly. That's reality.
Yeah. It's pretty easy with the Prime Sphere, where now with the God Particle machine, you can just have one of those packs on your back that will just generate magic for you infinitely.
God help you if that thing ruptures, though.
Yeah, and I mentioned what the explosion's going to look like and all the paradox that you'll accumulate. Instant 20 points of paradox for you right there.
And anyone in 20 feet of you.
And they will all just vanish off the face of the world. All right. Storyteller, give me a sphere of magic.
Hit me with spirit. That one's always been one of my
The
favorites.
spirit sphere. Okay, so corresponds and spirit are their big ones, where I think with corresponds we can piece together what that would look like.
Yeah. I mentioned like folding space time to get to your destination faster.
The teleporter pad, the space shuttle.
You
that
become
kind of stuff.
Jedi and Nightcrawler at the same time.
They use the Force.
Yeah.
Alright,
Punching someone from a distance.
So evaluate Gauntlet. So you know a police scanner, just walk over to the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet's just all around you, so just anywhere. Hold it up into the air and say, "Hey, we can just read how thick the Gauntlet is. This is how hard it's going to be to step sideways using magic."
Yeah.
Easy, right?
Yes.
Pretty much.
Then using that same scanner, you can then shoot the Gauntlet with it, just pick a spot and shoot, where it will then thicken the Gauntlet. Is there a horde of werewolves coming after you? Well, you can just shut them up for good by cranking up that Gauntlet level to 10.
Yeah.
Easy.
Just
Yep.
shoot it at a mirror. They can't come through for shit.
Turn it up to 10. It hits harder.
This is also going to be something you're using constantly against threat null when they eventually do overrun your position.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm good with that.
Thickening that gauntlet doesn't seem so bad anymore.
Let's see, along with scanning the non-local universe, where do you want to tell if a worm spirit's about to eat your ass? Well, now you can just ping a location with that scanner, and behold, the worm is right behind you.
I imagine it sounds like the scanner from Alien.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Along with that, you got little scanner bombs you can just plant in the air that will then blow a hole in the gauntlet. They can just jump right through it, no difficulty. Where the Geru wish they could get their hands on this kind of stuff.
Warp grenades.
And along with that, universal travel, where behold those same teleporter pads, you can set one in the Umbra and say, I want to go from the deep Umbra to cyberspace. Well, now you can instantly do that. Easy schmeezy.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much.
And then you can reconstruct the gauntlet, but with like goop juice, where you can just plant that over the hole you blew in the gauntlet and seal it right back up and restore its level. Also, breach alien gauntlet. Do you want to step sideways but on another planet? Well, guess what? You need 4 spheres of magic for that to be possible. And
I
then
imagine, yeah, because it's not the same Umbra that you're dealing with on Earth.
it is. I hope you have a copy of Rage Cross Heaven on you.
Well, I've never had any other reason to not spend money on World of Darkness.
Or finally, at level 5, you can create another gauntlet behind the gauntlet. Do you want to be a pain in the ass of any werewolf player where now you have to make multiple Gnosis rolls to step sideways somewhere?
That kind of sucks.
Put you on whatever the werewolf equivalent of the red list is.
Where if a Void Engineer wants to escape you through the Umbra, they can do so.
Just Void Engineer with ___. Fuck this guy in particular. Kill on sight for werewolves.
Autumn Leaves, are you trying to chase after an astronaut?
No.
Well, Autumn Leaves, I'm going to need you to make 4 Gnosis rolls at difficulty 10 in a row.
Oh, fuck.
Just
Yeah.
instantly tangled in the Weaver's webs.
Immediately. Get a point of rage.
Yep. Right. Freaking Autumn
You
Leaves
escaped.
would be
Do it
just
again.
tangled up like Clark Griswold in Christmas Vacation.
Yeah. And then touching you and trying to push you through the Umbra just doesn't work.
Well, no,
So-
it would probably recoil. They would try to tap the spirit, and they would just shoot him back out like a cannon.
Is that fucking pattern spider spits in your face as he closes the gauntlet behind him.
Yep.
Spits in your face, slaps you across, and calls you a bitch before sending you back.
I never
Let that
thought
Tom
a
and Jerry
pattern
fish.
spider could give me the finger before.
You also got other stuff in here like jetpacks that are powered by ether.
Yeah.
Fun,
I'm
right?
sure the Sons of Ether have those too.
Would you have to
Void
fly?
Engineer Rocketeer.
Yeah, you get to fly across the moon at light speed.
Yeah.
Fun.
They
Best
fly
way to travel.
now?
Yeah, they fly.
They fly now.
They fly. Astronauts fly. Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Order of Hermes just off the side. These kids these days just fly on their magic broomstick.
Alright, so just like name a sci-fi property, and then the Void Engineers can make it.
Same for the Sons of Ether.
Also, they have access to hit marks, by the way. The hit mark 7 is what they usually employ.
Jesus Christ, they're up to 7 now?
Yeah. Yes.
There's
about
13 models, if I'm not mistaken.
There are 13 models, and in case you're wondering what the hit mark 7 is capable of, Kyle, have you seen Terminator 3?
Yes. So it's the TX?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
And you know how long that took to kill.
He literally had to shove one of his own nuclear cores into the thing's face.
You are terminated.
That was that line saved the movie.
It really did. I don't know. I actually like that movie.
It's like you're never going to be as good as Terminator 2. That's
Nothing ever will be, but it was like it knew not to take itself too seriously.
Yeah.
Because it knew it's not going to be Terminator 2. Nothing ever will. But at the same time, it's still just like a fun action movie.
Yeah, as long as you don't take it too seriously, it's fun.
Exactly.
It's not like it's Terminator Genesis or anything.
Oh,
no. I will argue, though. I will argue.
Suddenly Terminator 3 isn't looking too bad.
I will argue. Terminator Salvation was actually kind of good. It might have been.
Was.
Yeah, I actually really like that one.
See, and now for a new segment on the show that's only going to happen for this episode. Spaceships with Rap Red.
Cool.
We have a sample spaceship in first edition.
Yes. Anastasia XY56B58. We start with a quote, "But man, we're here now to end the darkness."
Where this book tends to quote William Blake and Dune a lot. A lot.
No, but this guy is Leguin.
See, it is a different guy though.
No, it's Ursula, which is the woman.
Yeah, Ursula K. Lagoon from the Word of the World in the Forest. Zero.
As ominous one sing as they approach the dreaded umbral dreadnought known as the Qui La Machine, the technocratic umbral santinizer craft, in serene masses of Athene. Blaze guns and scanners, such ships were designed to terrorize opponents while siphoning prime forces into massive storage batteries. Yeah, imagine as a werewolf, you're traveling the Umbra, it's nice, it's green, it's fun. And then you see in the sky this giant ship siphoning clouds, taking life from his vicinity. And what are you gonna do? Well, that's up to you.
Depends on which tribe.
I'm gonna be honest. That was a Calvin and Hobbes comic. There was literally Calvin wrote a story about aliens that drained all the oceans and took all the clouds, and they did it because it's their job.
It's their job.
Calvin's a mage. Hobbes is just his avatar.
Yes.
Yes.
They steal they steal prime forces from the Umbra to fight Threatnall.
Mm-hmm.
And to explore stuff as well. Yeah.
So there it is. Who is on this ship?
This ship is stationed in Null B section. And we start with a captain. With Captain Carrie Bassett. Bassatt.
Yeah, that's how I say it, yeah.
Isn't that Tyler's last name?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's just coincidence.
Sure. Nature Survivor Demeanor Director, Essence Pattern, Methodology, Border Corps Division. Attributes with nanotech ads. He has nano machines in him. 5, strength 5, dexterity 5, stamina 4, charisma 4, Manipulation 2, Appearance 3, Perception 3, Intelligence 3, and Wits 3. Well. Abilities, Hookers. Backgrounds, Allies 4, Avatar 3, Talisman 4, Guns and Glasses. Arete 3, Spheres, Forces 3, Mind 3, and Prime 2. Quintessence 7. Willpower 5 and Paradox 3. So this
Wow.
guy is full of nanomachines, has quintessence of 7, and can mind control you and shoot fireballs.
Jesus Christ.
And given what he's up against, he's going to need that.
Yep. Quick history of our captain is science fiction and fantasy fascinated young career, a tomboy growing up in eastern Tennessee, although her family, yes, she's a woman, life could never be described as rosy. It was the lot of the other girls, cooking, cleaning, occasionally beatings, that inspired her to bear boys at their own game. Beat boys. Beat boys at their own game. Always a bit short, she compensated by keeping an even temper and learning all she could about machines, drinking, and fighting. Never reckless, she can quird obstacles through cunning, strength, and brains. By 19, she'd left Tennessee for good. Guys, it's good to leave Tennessee?
I mean, Tennessee's pretty nice.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
never
I'm
been.
asking.
I live in
I was
Texas.
never. I was never there. I'm just asking. It's not like hypothetical question. It's just like, is that bad?
Well, no, Tennessee's a decent place to live.
But it's also like a pretty good tourist attraction too, because Kyle, how much does Las Vegas suck now?
Oh, Jesus Christ, don't get me started.
20 years ago, that was the place to go on vacation. Now it's a fucking tourist trap.
It's basically just, boomers sitting there just mashing on the
Tapping on the-
fucking screens and then drinking profusely. Like when I went there when I was a kid, there was like every hotel had their own like water attractions. Like they had water slides, they had wave pools, they had lazy rivers. It was great going there as a kid. And then they had M&M World, the Coca-Cola plant, FAO Schwartz, GameWorks. They had all kinds of stuff there for kids to do. Like a bunch of hotels, like the Luxor had one of the biggest arcades I've ever seen in my life. And, every time I would go back there afterwards, there'd be a little bit more of it missing until it was just all slot machines. It was terrifying.
And now you go there and you got shit like the Mr. Beast scam that he had over there, where Mr. Beast couldn't even fucking show up and you had to stay in your hotel room for 2 days while waiting for a gift bag that would not be delivered to your hotel room if you're not in there.
Jesus.
And then other shit like people just like walk up to you with like a shitty friendship bracelet and like grip you by the arm and slide onto your hand and then ask you for money for the bracelet that just slipped onto you.
No, get the fuck up out of it. Meanwhile, my folks all went to Nashville, Tennessee. They had a lot of great bars, a lot of great restaurants, great music venues. You've got Dollywood over there where you get to learn all about Dolly Parton. They got like the Country Music Hall of Fame over there. They got all kinds of stuff there.
And along with that, for all the people in California and New York who aren't coming to Charlotte and who aren't going to Florida are going to Nashville, and now it's one of the fastest growing cities in the United States.
Nashville's nice. Me and my dad are planning a trip to Memphis at some point because we both want to see Graceland. Me personally, I want to go to the Bass Pro Shop Pyramid because I think it'll be really funny.
Okay. I'm continuing with the backstory.
Go ahead.
So yeah, just like so does that answer your question?
Kinda.
Yeah.
It was backtracked by Legos.
But how much fucking Vegas sucks?
Yeah. The army provided opportunities to travel and carry, never refuse. Germany, Okinawa, Panama. Each place added some new challenges to the Lieutenant Bassett portfolio. Oscar Hamilton, NWO supervisor, met Carey during Norwegian's overthrow, and the two became, if not friends, then at least mutual admirers. To the Tennessean, Hamilton carried a mistake she couldn't resist when he invited her along for a special mission. The young officers went AWOL and discovered the Technocracy. For a, for a time, she worked at fire support for the NWO. At the meeting, she encouraged Hamilton's comrade Emmett Morrison. Their affair lasted less than 3 months, but it introduced her to the Void Engineers, whose restless matches her own. Soon after transferring to the Border Corps, Carrie awakened during a vicious battle with the Dream Speakers and Garou. Well, if you if you're not awakened after that, you're screwed, buddy.
Yeah.
You're just destined to be an NPC after that.
Yeah. The fight left the soldiers hating these reality terrorists, and her battlefield promotions and Morrison's brought her in 1992 to the Anastasia's command. That's when things went sour. Morrison, feeling rejected, sent Carrie on suicide missions and refused her transfer requests. Although his superiors soon clamped down on that, he still does what he can do to make Bassett lives miserable. The murder attacks intensified, and soon only the Anastasia remained in commission, although 2 sister ships soon filled the gap. Captain Bassett made a name for herself during the lonely time. Hamilton, convinced that Carrie has a special touch, orders the ship off on sanitization missions outside of the realm, but always demands their return. So far, Captain Bassett has kept tight ship and her own sanity while fulfilling her mission goals, even so she's not convinced that her luck will last. Deep inside, Captain Bassett wants to leave Genosha?
Yes.
Osha.
Is a Y first, so I don't know. She isn't willing to abandon her crew. However, so far now she follows orders. Okay. So how we feel about her character?
See, Kyle, you like him?
Yeah.
Her. That's the woman.
Oh, her. That's a woman.
I just feel bad for her because she just gets dealt the shittiest hand.
Yeah. It's a Void Engineer summarized, right? That you're Sisyphus pushing a boulder up a hill.
You really are. You're like, okay, we've got this, undefeatable mind virus metallic fleshy threat like the fucking aliens from Doom, or the demons from Doom, but like, come on. We don't even get any Argent energy or any cool shit like that. We just get the demons from Doom.
Yeah, and my ex-boyfriends keep calling me. I don't want that.
Yeah, that's even worse. I gotta deal with demons and my ex-boyfriend hitting on me while also sending me on suicide missions? Fuck that.
Yeah.
So-
Another member is, or are we just leaving out that?
Let's go. Talk about Michael Sandler, because we can start breezing through everyone else too. But
The grandfather of Adam Sandler, Michael Sandler, aka the Sandman.
he's doing the DreamWorks face in this picture. Kyle, he's got this. He's got the half smile, one eyebrow down, one eyebrow up in this picture.
And also the
Hell
goatee
yeah.
helps.
Yes. Jeffrey Katzenberg would like to know your current location.
Boom.
Nature, architect, demeanor, bon voyant, essence, dynamic, methodology, research and execution. Attributes, abilities, hookers. Backgrounds, Allies 5, Avatar 1, Dream 3. Oh. Talisman 4, gun and gadgets. We have a theme with talismans being a fucking gun. Because, you're gonna need one.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy.
Yeah.
Spheres, correspondence to dimensional science 3, aka spirit 3, forces 3, matter 3, prime 2, willpower 6, but quintessence 2 and paradox 2. So if you feed him quintessence, this guy is pretty dangerous and very utility.
Rip your ass to shreds in seconds.
Yeah.
Damn.
Now, who is this man?
History. Mike was a young net junkie well before it was fashionable. He cruises like a pro by the time he made to the high school and soon attracted a lot of attention for his interests and abilities. By the time he moved on to the college, a fascinated void engineer recruiter cut in on the several virtual adepts who were cruising him and pulled him into a partnership in the R&A division. True, the Sandman prefers to refer to his area as research and engineering rather than research and execution. Despite his despite his youth, the Sandman has become a respected scientist. This status lets him get away with a bit of eccentric behavior like his nickname. An electric engineer of same note, he precedes some of the best scanners in the business and special. Sorry, it was another page. Entire business and specialties in VR external interfaces and combination of alliteration X components and void engineers new technology. Cool glasses, bro.
Damn.
Yeah. He's doubled in just about everything. Knows just about everyone and has amazing knack for coming out on top. His abilities to extract funding from the syndicate is legendary. Oh, motherfucker is hacking syndicate.
Good shit, man.
It is. There's always a back door.
Sandman.
But
Sandman met Captain Bassett during a nasty fight in his Null B lab. The two did not at first get along at all when he requested a transfer off station. Emmett Morrison, in another bid to irate Bassett, commissioned him to take over as the Anastasia's chief technician instead. The older engineer figured that close proximity would drive Bassett and Sandman to distraction. Instead, they became close friends. If the captain were to fall, most crewmen would like to Sandman to take her place. In the meantime, he operates the prime absorption devices and maintains the weaponry and power drives. Simply, he is the guy on the ship.
if you need some shit done, this is the guy you talk to.
Yeah.
Make friends
So
with him
he-
at all costs.
Yes.
The Sandman keeps two private laboratory spaces, a large lab in Null B, Grey Building, and a smaller shop on the border ship. Both places are organized chaos full of electric parts, computer cards, and materials for the home brewing parts. And chips. Sandman still cruises the net and even has covert contacts among the virtual adepts and Sons of Ether. In fact, he belongs in the Antithesis conspiracy that periodically leaks information from the NWO and the Syndicate to the conventions. Not even Captain Bassett knows the Sandman's secrets. Oh my god, he's selling secrets of technocracy to the fucking Sons of Ether.
Oh no!
You know this man's life is over if that ever comes out.
Oh, absolutely.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
bro's like, yeah, I'm a 10. I'm a Sandman. I'm a fun guy, electric personality, and I'm hacking NWO and sending their secrets into the fucking enemy.
Nice meeting you, bro. Can you send me your social security number real quick? Just for laughs.
Man knows how to play the field.
Imagine like some the NWO blacks who just threaten someone is like, is that your social security number, LMO?
Hey, yeah, can you verify this information for me, please?
Yeah, homie docks himself real hard.
Basically, and you're like, I'll kill you for this. Oh, that won't make any difference.
There are still more. There are still like 3 people, but we can maybe talk about the ship.
we can accelerate through the last ones. Like Dr. Sheila DeVries, who thanks to her father dying in an accident, got out for life that would have been just humdrum and normal in Latin America, and got to go to UCLA.
My God, the nickname is fucking atrocious.
She's called Brown Dwarf.
Oh,
by the
Jesus.
crew.
Mm.
I don't know what she's called that for.
I think that's NWO. I think it's because NWO.
And
There are also unaligned contingencies,
Uh,
and there are 2 people who are not mages that are on the ship.
where this would be Colette Sheridan, aka Piper, who's been a part of the Void Engineers for many years, but just never really got the memo.
She never awakened.
No.
And then one Sergeant Jonathan Braxter, where that automatically gives away what he is, security.
Hey,
And-
we got our Barry Calhoun. Hell yeah.
And ironically enough, he's a Buddhist who's trying to create as little attachment to life as possible.
No, he's in the right place. He's gonna be dead soon anyway.
How do I reach enlightenment? How about I just detach myself from the planet itself?
Honestly,
space.
kind of good.
Okay. What the ship has as equipment, I'm gonna go through quickly.
So you tell us about
Uh,
the ship.
Yeah. Small-scale VR facilities, video screens, and games for entertainment and training simulations.
Hey, it's Metal Gear Solid 2, Kyle.
Okay.
I was trained by video games.
God damn it.
Okay. Powerful searchlights which can sweep around the entire ship. Full communication stations which can cross Umbra channels if necessary, and technological sensors which Sandman has upgraded. All spheres difficulty 5, Areta 8. Okay, so simply you can communicate from anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yep.
There is no fucking limit. You can be in the hell and still talk to these guys.
Yep.
You just say, okay, ship, send message to so-and-so.
Computer,
send
send
Wrong
message
number.
to.
Hello, you have called the Alibertine Hotmail. How may I help you? Oh, sorry, wrong number.
See, I hit the wrong button.
We were
Charles-
to send us a Google Play gift cards.
Hello, sir. Would you like to... Okay. Showers and commodos with waste reclamation systems. That's nice. They're not stinky.
Yep.
IMPALA system which can camouflage the hull to suit the ship's environment. Oh. Simply, you want the beach, you can have a beach. Nice.
What was it? It was in the Fallout 4 DLC where it was a bunch of robo-brains that were like rich people that wanted to live forever, where they had a simulated beach in the vault.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that one.
It was also like the Fallout TV show where they had the fake farm. Yeah, just
The farm wasn't
but-
fake. They still have crops, but they don't use like heavy machinery.
yeah. The farm wasn't as big as you thought it was.
Yep.
Oh no, absolutely not.
Yeah. And
Two
what-
heavy-duty prime absorption devices with cross-gauntlet capability. Oh my god, Gatling gun that siphons you. If you are Garu, this gun is pointed at you. It doesn't just kill your damage, it takes your noses. And it's a Gatling gun.
Yeah. Those are the fun parts.
It's delicious.
So, do you want to invade the ship anytime soon?
Hell no.
No.
I
Yeah,
don't see. Here's the thing: we don't need to. Threatenol will do it anyway.
There it is. It just the problem will solve itself.
Yeah.
It will.
Except that not only the ship is very dangerous, the crew is dangerous.
Yeah.
But then you realize Fred Null can take care of those. So how Fred Null is dangerous? And
I want. Oh, was that part? Yeah. Sorry. Go.
no, it's not. It's just simply how Fred Null can be a fucking problem.
Yeah.
If that capable crew and such a powerful machine can be ended.
I think it'd be a fucking cool story if we had a Glasswalker, a Thanatos, and a couple of Void Engineers fly out to that ship after receiving a distress signal, and then having a whole System Shock 2 Dead Space campaign with Threatenol. I think that'd be awesome.
I
That
would
would be
say
pretty
I would take I would take Glasswalker and throw him out of the window and put Dream Speaker in, like full Mage game.
Yes.
Okay.
Honestly, I throw an Order of Hermes in just to keep things interesting.
Just to be annoying guy.
Yeah, basically.
Wow.
Why are you here? Why are you here? You don't believe in spirits. You believe in circles.
This
Get out.
fuck-
I got roped in with my rest of my
Captain
cabal.
of Hermes, bish.
This fucking copper armored, wheel gun wielding Yarhar motherfucker in a little blimp flying into his ship that is currently being eaten alive by a biomechanical supervirus.
Yahar! Eat cannon, motherfucking Bork.
Oh god, I hate this job.
So, yeah, that gives you a basic idea as to what your average crew or cabal of void engineers would look like, just floating out through space, waiting to be devoured by a praying mantis alien.
Simply, half of the crew is military based, and the other is heavy on
Research.
science and repairing your weapons in modern knights.
Yeah.
We shall be
And then at the-
biffles.
And then at the back of this book is an advertisement for Samuel Haight.
No fucking, no way.
Yes.
No fucking, really?
Yes, at the back of the
Send-
Void Engineers book, yes.
Send onto the studio notes. I want to fucking see it.
Okay, let me
Because
just
I
go.
don't believe you.
Let
At
me
the
go.
end of
let
the
me-
Mage book is fucking
we
Samuel
were
Haight.
having such a good time, and then Samuel Haight had to pop up on the screen.
Imagine like, oh
Send
my god,
Samuel hate to deal with Threatenol.
Yes.
Oh, he is Threatenol, didn't you know? Fucking.
We'll get the two stupid subplots to solve themselves.
it's like it's like you're reading the book. It's like, oh my god, what
wait,
will
what's
happen at
the-
the last page?
Yeah. Here it is.
No fucking
Meet
way.
Sam,
the
the
ultimate
ultimate
badass.
badass.
Like,
The ultimate stupid fucking idea that went nowhere.
Why it's on the book of this fucking book? What? Why?
Why is it in this? Why is it in this?
why are
I
you
don't
here,
know.
Samuel Hate?
Supernatural
be-
terrorist. Yes, he terrorizing my good knight.
Yes.
No, I'm
Kyle,
gonna-
We're going to have to talk about Kyle. We're going to have to talk about this guy one more time when we get the cast factor.
Why?
Excuse me, Storyteller's Handbook to the Sabbat. What the fuck?
There, he's in there. He's
Book
in there.
of Chantries?
Yes, he's in there too.
Oh my!
Uh,
Who? I mean, the plot line is dumb. Dumb. Yes,
Oh, God,
agreed.
he's in New Orleans
Who
Friday
puts
night. I was
them
gonna
in
look into
the-
that one.
Who put him in those books?
He was entirely ironic. And he comes across as a fucking parody character.
I hate him. I hate him so much.
It's just
I like my character
Why
better.
he's put in those books?
yeah.
Valkenberg Foundation. He was introduced. I get it.
And he would have been fine if it was just Valkenberg Foundation, but then he's in all these other fucking books.
They
like-
really,
It's
really
also
like
not in the other
Sam.
books.
Yes.
The skin dancers are fun concept, and he should be only a skin dancer.
Yeah.
Be like
Yes.
leaders of skin dancers, but then he's like, I'm gonna be a mage, be a vampire.
Who
and
a
then I'm
mage, vampire, kinfolk,
Samuel Haight.
wraith.
Samuel Haight
And then I'm
is.
gonna become a mummy, and then I'm gonna become a demon, and then a Frankenstein, and I'm gonna be ultimate powerful, and I'm dead.
Yeah, guys, the Sin Eaters isn't even in this version of World Darkness, but I'm going to become one.
Dude, Samuel Haight is quite literally a cancer on the world of darkness. He is an infectious, malicious cell that tries to be everything.
He just makes everything worse by association.
And all we need to do is apply the correct amount of radioactive therapy.
I'll get
Oh,
the
okay.
of Hermes on this. Their
Right.
specialty is forces.
There
Can
you
I
go.
use correspondence? Can I use correspondence sphere to get him out of here?
Just nuke him
Yes.
from orbit. Please.
It's-
I beg of you.
Yes.
Send him to the
Kyle's
sun.
agreeing to exterminatus Samuel Haight.
And now for mixing splats. Now that we got Sam on the fucking screen.
We start
so-
with vampires or
Yeah, vampire, please. Yes.
All right.
Hmm,
What ideas you got, Kyle?
last. Oh, okay.
Wait, why? Let Rapper talk. He had an idea.
All right. Well, Rapper, if you got an idea, you saying the
fir-
Sombra?
Of course, La Sombra. They are in the ocean.
Yeah, because
even
he is
or-
the Kraken.
Or Mariner Gangrel.
Well, there we are. Kyle, you remember that scary story to tell in the dark where it's the guy that was like the very end of it, it's like a guy who's like laughing his ass off, jumps over, grabs the guy, and then drags him back down to the ocean.
Like I said, I never read the books. I looked at the front page and I'm like, I would like to sleep tonight.
So I'm typing in scary stories to tell in the dark boat story. See, there's the picture I'm looking for.
Boat.
It's a little low resolution though. Yeah, here it is.
Boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty freaky. I'm not gonna lie.
Your average encounter with a mariner gangrel.
Yeah.
With lupines, aka werewolves, glasswalkers, and Uctena, definitely.
There's the last workers because they want to go to space, and then the Uctena because it turns out Great Uctena was the guy that told Tyotis what he knew.
And Red Talons because wow, they're finding ways of getting people off Gaia. Yeah, cool.
The Wraith Chronicle wrote itself.
Exploring Stygia and the other Shadowlands.
Exploring Stygia so you can blow it up all over again.
Yeah, it's like
What's left,
wow,
I guess.
what amazing new place. What we gonna do with it?
Blow it up.
Explore and eradicate.
I'm
decorated
going to
my tree
blow up Stygia, Batman.
I decorated my tree until it was almost perfect, and I blew it up.
There are no rules against rape, Batman.
See, how about Changeling?
Changeling. Oh my God, what
They're
changeling?
reality deviants, though. I don't think virtual or actually. Well,
She.
The she.
She maybe. I mean, every
Well-
changeling can work because they in dreaming, aka Umbra, which they explore.
Saying you wanna explore my kingdom? You wanna explore my kingdom without my approval, the kingdom of apples? Well, let me show you what happens when you piss on my hospitality.
Yep, and then they immediately get mogged by a fucking by a red cap.
Yeah.
Just
That
like,
is one idea.
wow, look, in the Umbra here, there's this whole whimsical, magical kingdom. What the fuck is that?
It's that Kenneth Copeland like clip of where it's out of context where he's going, it's full of wealth. It's full of miracles and signs and wonders. It's full of goodness. And it's full of meanness. And it's just hell on earth when you go there.
I don't know. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm just thinking about the virtual adepts being like the foot being the H Marine grunts from Half-Life, where
The border world, Jen, is now under our control.
Demon. They opened the abyss and now they want to explore it.
so
Imagine,
actually
like,
just the
oh,
plot
yeah.
of Doom.
Well, let's
Yeah,
just
that's-
jump into hell. Don't mind us.
Yeah, hey, whoa. What if we jump into hell because we explore everything? Come on, guys. It's hell.
It's Doom.
It cannot be.
We're
it's
just
hell. It
playing
cannot be-
Doom at this point.
and,
Worse
it's,
yet.
and that's bad.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying we just made a
You
Doom
love
TTRPG.
You love Doom.
I do love Doom, and I love a game like that because I get to play Doom again.
Sir,
Worse yet, they
sir,
open a port to the atrocity realm.
Sir, pull super shotgun with the forces 4.
Yep.
Yeah.
The break your arm the second you pull the trigger gun.
Yep. It's a
And-
quad barrel shotgun.
Whoa. What we? You know what? What about Mummy and Egyptian Umbra, which is very well written in Rage Across Egypt book?
And then
Not.
you get to go to Mott and then find out that you're not the heroes you thought you were. Here's the actual heroes of the story.
Yeah, get to talk to Osiris.
And you get to
I'm
find
sure
out what
that'd be
the
a fun conversation.
you get to find out what the Amenti are, the hard way.
When they say Osiris, I thought like may Ozzy Osbourne because they say Ozzy.
Yeah. Oh, Ozzy Osbourne is the leader of the Da'at.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like in the what was the game with Jack Black? The Metal something.
Oh yeah, Brutal Legends.
Yes.
Brutal Legends. Like
Oh, it's
you know,
nothing. I'm just
you
the
c-
fucking
you-
god of metal, son.
yeah, it's just like you come
I'm
to
just
the top
going
of
to
the
metal.
Umbra Tower and you just see Ozzy Osbourne.
I gotta tell a story about Ozzy Osbourne that I heard. You'll have to pardon me for this, but
So,
I once heard when Black Sabbath was first getting started, people thought that they were like actual practicing Satanists and stuff. And so they were staying in a hotel one night, and a group of guys walks out, and they turn off all the lights in the hallway, and they're all wearing black robes, and they draw like a pentagram in the hallway in front of their door, light a bunch of candles, and start like chanting prayers to Satan. And so all the members of Black Sabbath are in the hotel room. They're looking out the peephole at these guys doing this weird ceremony. And, you know, Tony Iommi and Geezer Butler, Bill Ward, they're all looking out like, what are these blokes doing out here? It looks like they're performing some sort of satanic ritual. And then Ozzy Osbourne shoves his way forward. He goes, hang on, bros, I've got this. And he opens up the door, and the guys look up at him. And Ozzy Osbourne sits down between the guys there, wearing the cloaks. They got the candles. And he looks around at all of them, and he blows out the candles and starts singing happy birthday to himself. It's such an Ozzy Osbourne thing to do.
See with them. With the few ideas I got. Kyle, did you have any ideas for vampire? Storyteller, you got one?
I have a couple ideas. Maybe some vampires stumble upon a seemingly abandoned warehouse. They discover one of those teleporter pads, and then oopsie doopsie, you're now on Pluto.
You know what? What about uncovering true origin of or history of Kuldunic sorcery?
Yes. You get to go into this time machine. We're going to explore the frontier of time, and we're going to find out how this actually got formed.
Yeah. Accidentally more time traveling vampires, like there aren't enough of those already.
There's only one.
Ilyes.
Yeah. And that's more than enough.
That's one too many.
The fact that it's possible.
Void engineers are trying to catch up to the antediluvian of the Bruja.
Back to the future with the antediluvian.
No matter where or when in time we go, he's always a better universe ahead of us.
Great Scott, that's Elias! The antediluvian of Bruja!
Catch him! And what else you got? What else you got?
I don't know, for vampires, if they're just there, then I mean, what can you do, really?
Well, I got an idea for you.
Oh yeah, hit us.
All right, so I already shared my idea of the whole like Zimichi using biomass to eject himself after he's done with the planet.
Yeah, you said that in this video. Yes.
So let me take a step into a different direction with this. All right, so the Giovanni.
Yeah.
Can we get a record with the Giovanni saying, hey, but I'll escort you into Stygia if you pay me and the family first. And
okay.
Giovanni trying to extort the Void engineers?
Yes.
And then they immediately get just shot with a laser pistol.
Yeah, just literally evaporated.
My friend, do you want to explore the stage? Yeah. Want some? I have money. You have a rave.
Hey, look at me! I'm like the famine over here. I'll leave it to the course of the river Styx.
Now listen here. You want to come into my people's family business? We know this place better than most people do, even those euthanatoid schmucks. You come in here, you make a deal with us, we take you to places you ain't never seen before.
You see, it just sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I'm sure nothing bad will happen.
See, or alternatively with Vampire the Masquerade, will it be a certain group that might be looking at these guys saying, "Don't you touch our land"? The Bahari, you know, Lilith's vampires. Where
I have to explore them because I don't fucking know about them.
You get a bunch of Void engineers that say, "Hey, we found that the Garden of Eden still exists, and we're gonna find it." And Lilith and the Bahari are like, "Oh, hell no, you're not. No, you ain't getting this garden,
please."
And that's your Chronicle. We're going to invade the Garden of Eden and find Lilith in it.
Yeah.
And then you immediately get melted.
Yeah. We're off the apocalypse. Now, I thought for a while about this one, where I think some of these answers were obvious. We gave the obvious answers. How about the Fianna, Kyle?
Why?
because the Fianna, when it comes to werewolf clans, are the only ones that really admit just how bad things are. Where the Surfangs are in denial, the Shellards are in denial, the Geffners are in denial. The Fianna would have all put guns with silver bullets in their mouths had it not been for their lust for life culture, where the reason why they drink so much and party so much is because they know that this isn't guaranteed tomorrow. That at any point the worm can just strip it all away. Same thing with the Void Engineers, where the Void Engineers are doing all this because Threat Null is invading as we speak, and any day it might be the battle that they lose that they couldn't afford the loss of.
Well, his saying is, well, there's war over there, there's the world-ending supervirus, there's the other world-ending supervirus from outer space. Would you like a drink of whiskey?
Yes. And we'll change it to
I prefer gin.
yeah.
Motherfucker, I knew you were going to do that to me.
Also, with changing to dreaming, have you forgotten that the knockers exist?
How the fuck could I ever fucking forget the fucking knockers fucking exist? Bunch of bullshit to ever fucking forget about us. The fucking asshole dickhead move.
These Semitic clowns built a spaceship that looks a lot like our very early prototypes, but still works.
You're going to me one fucking right. It works because I fucking built it with my own bloody fucking hands.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's like from the scene from The Dictator when the workhead is shown. It's like, why it's pointy? Why it's not pointy? What do you mean? It has to be pointy. I think you watch too many cartoons, Supreme Leader. Think about.
Demon the Fallen. How do you think Lucifer's going to react to find out that humans want to escape planet Earth?
Yeah, I don't think he'll take it well.
No.
Don't leave.
Why are you leaving? I want to make this place perfect. Because if we don't leave, whatever is out there comes to kill us.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, if you love me truly, you'll let me go. And no, he's not going to do that.
And then he's going to build his perfect little dollhouse and then immediately be overrun by a mutant supervirus.
Mm-hmm.
True. But demons are pretty damn powerful. If you can get the right ones on your side with selling a couple souls here and there, you could probably turn the tide against Threat Null.
You could. You make a pact with the devil, but at the same time that might just replace one invasion with another.
Well, yeah, but at least you won't be bored.
You replaced your game you've replaced your System Shock with Doom, actually.
Yes. And there it is.
Demons can at least be reasoned with somewhat.
Or in this case, Devil May Cry, but you know.
You made a pact with Belial, and now he has taken over Mars.
It doesn't have to be Belial. It could be anybody else.
Dagon.
Yeah.
But also, there's one fun fact that I'm saving for this part that I just had to remind myself of.
Oh, yeah.
Kyle, one more.
Yes.
The Nuisha.
Okay, enlighten me.
Oh my god.
So you know how the Nuisha are implied to be the strongest force of the wild because there's that implication that Coyote is the wild?
Okay.
And what do the Nuisha do really well? What do they excel at when it comes to the Umbra?
Aside from its traversal?
Yeah, that's exactly it, the traversal.
Yes.
So a detail that's in these books is that with the Nuisha, when the Void Engineers went to explore the Umbra, the Nuisha will follow them from a distance and will notice, hey, you're about to go into Malpheus. That's a really stupid idea. Let me just close that portal and make it impossible for you to go into Malpheus. And it'll just follow them around, closing off gate and gate and gate that will lead them to a realm that's filled with Banes waiting to possess them. And
I don't know why they would lead them to more Banes to have to fight.
Well, it's because that with a human, it's very easy to possess you. With a vampire, it takes some time. Werewolf, it takes a little bit of time. A human, empty vessel. Don't mind if I do just jump around and possess you.
Jesus Christ.
That's why it's very easy to fill the race in the Fondi when their members die.
Yeah.
And as for the Nuisha, are they protecting the Void Engineers from being possessed? Or do they know that, or is it more that if the worm gets a hold of them, it'll be over in a different way?
Probably.
And do you think Noisha would have an idea for threat null as well?
Probably, but not a good one.
The Wild has some sort of way to exploit this, right?
Yeah.
Because with the Void Engineer going into Malpheus, the Noisha will immediately go on that and close the portal. But with the threat null, Cody and Noisha are just letting that happen so far. So, is there a plan that Noisha have that was never actually written? But is there a plan?
I don't think the Noisha plan.
It is. Well, that's for you to figure out in your Chronicle.
Yes,
the
it is.
rare Noisha centered Chronicle.
It's not for us. It's
It's all for
Dan to
Danston.
teach us.
Yeah, it's for Dan. It is. The spot points for you, Dan. and with that, that's the Void Engineers.
They're cool. I really
Yeah,
like them. They're the best.
So
Fight for Super Earth.
Kyle, I think it's safe to say out of all the Technocrat conventions, this one's your favorite.
Yes.
This one's my also favorite as well.
Yeah.
I love this.
We're
guys.
going to do an all Void Engineers game at some point, just so I can play System
Hell yeah.
Shock.
See, Storyteller, I take it this is your favorite too?
They are now. I mean, I was kind of partial to the Syndicate, but after I've gone through their book, I mean, yeah, Void Engineers #1. At least for the Technocracy, I'm still Order Hermes all the way, though.
Oh my god! We chose like conventions in Technocracy that is not in Technocracy technically.
Basically.
The Void Engineers, I will say, are without a doubt one of the few heroes in World of Darkness where there really is nothing wrong with these guys.
They
besides
make
their whole-
mistakes, but they're...
And they do have a martyrdom culture that they need to go ahead and drop.
Yeah, they do.
But honestly, of all the Technocracy conventions, the Syndicate is still my favorite just because of how good they are as villains.
They are very good. That's the thing I like. I like the Syndicate as villains because they're very difficult to hate.
Yes. Until the Syndicate's going, burn the flower beds, there might be money buried underneath them.
That's where you have an issue. But, like, in just
I
a
also
general...
love-
Just looking at them killing the plants that will cure cancer once and for all.
Yeah.
I also like progenitors because there's so much potential.
Yes, the progenitors are a good villain just because, like, they are kind of stuck in the middle between, like, the NWO and the Syndicate. And they're also compromised currently by the Glasswalkers. But they have a lot of different flavors of Big Red Button on their desk if they want to fuck things up bad.
Oh no, all the Macaulay died. Well, we could just make a new Macaulay.
Yep, and now we
oh,
control them.
Oh, wow! What about Jurassic Park, but with Farah breed?
Yeah.
That's basically what they already did that with the Bunyip.
They already made it. Jurassic Park.
Banyap is only Banyap. Is only
Oh,
Garou.
jeez, guys. what are we
imagine-
gonna do with all these 9-foot-tall, muscular, furry people? Void Engineers comes in. I have a couple places.
Center space.
Yeah. Where T-Rexes and where Triceratopses. That's not a fucking joke.
Dinosaurs
cool
versus
as shit.
aliens. What you were doing with your toys when you were 5 years old is now the Chronicle.
I know, and you know what? I'm here for it. 5-year-old me was right. This fox.
Yeah. And there we have it.
This episode's awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
There we go.
Good night,
All
everybody.
Gee,
Everybody,
everyone.
take care and drink water.
Indeed. And look always to the stars.